going on, everybody? Welcome back to the LPL here on LPL English for another night and another week of LPL League of Legends action. My name's Gordo. I'm joined by Jay Beto on the first match of tonight. For that one, we've got Weibo Gaming taking on NIP, Jay Beto.
Yeah, an exciting match. I feel like this is... We've kind of been talking about already. We're in Split 2, and the Circle of Suck is re-centering itself over the LPL. And I feel like from how we should talk about this match previously, from previous matches, I don't know how you predict this game, to be honest, because NIP looked really good so far. They lost to IG. Weibo, on paper, should be better, but didn't look great against AL, so I think this one's kind of up in the air.
I think there's definitely a case to be made for both teams here, and let's take a quick look at the standings so we can drop in on how exactly these teams stack up to the competition at this point in the split. It's just about 1 week's worth of games. NIP find themselves with a win up against WE, as well as a loss in 3 to Invictus Gaming. WBG, meanwhile, have only got the one series. They got 2-0'd by AL at the start of last week.
Yeah, and it is, again, only a few days in, so there is still time for some of this stuff to change around, but I think it's kind of crazy due to, well, first of all, that Group Nirvana hasn't played a match yet, but that'll be soon, but that IG is top of the standings right now after their end of Split 1.
Yeah, that is definitely a spicy one here. I've been very impressed with what IG have been able to show us so far, and how impressed you are with IG, naturally going to impact how impressed you are with NIP, because I don't think WE have impressed anybody yet. So you're trying to shadowbox NIP against this new Group Ascend competition, most of which they haven't gone up against yet because they did spend the previous split in a lower group. So they've now made the promotion up to Group Ascend, but, you know, how much ahead of WE are they really? Hard to tell, right? They just haven't gotten to play a lot of this group of competition yet.
Yeah, one could say, I'm not sure if I'm one, but one could say that if NIP had played a little bit better, that they could have 2-0'd IG. Again, I don't know if I'm one, but one could say that. Also, win percentage of BLG and TES, 0.67.
Very nice, very nice. And with that, so lovingly established, let's get into our rosters for tonight. Let's check out the NIP roster to start things off. NIP going to be coming on in with the same roster of Sans one from last split. It's Hoya, Guan, Care, Awesome, and Zhuo in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think I've really been impressed with the bottom lane, and that's kind of where we're going to be going tonight, Gordo, with our, our conversations. I think that Awesome and Zhuo did a really, really good job playing up against IG in their recent series. I think that not only is IG have a bot lane that when they played against Test that we were saying, wow, these guys are really good. And Awesome and Zhuo come out and put on some pretty good performances in the 2v2, getting some 2v2 solo kills, and they were looking really strong.
Yeah, they absolutely were. Really impressed with what they've been able to put together in their first series. Guan really showed up and started to show why he was such a hype prospect for a while prior to his time over on DFM when he was still on T1 Academy. Hoping to see him continue to kind of break through the barriers he's shown so far and really scratch the surface of what we know his potential can be, especially in some of these carry junglers, right? That Kiana, still a major favorite of his. Hope we get to see that one again this split, even though it's maybe a little bit less exciting in the meta these days. And yeah, you can see the performances from Awesome and Zhuo here. This is just last night, so hot off the presses if you missed a day of LPL, but these guys were absolutely dominant in the 2-on-2.
Yeah, in the podcast recording, I'm pretty sure it was before this game. Honestly, it all blurs together sometimes. But Alk asked me what was the series that if you haven't seen, you should go back and watch. It was this one. My answer was different because I'm fairly sure this match hadn't been played. Go and watch this series. incredible aim to game 1, incredible end to game 1, incredible end to game 2. I think with this Enchanter meta though, Gordo, that we're seeing, like, this is a real true Enchanter meta, and I think that it allows these AD carries to really, really thrive. It's not so much necessarily like you're playing like a kill bot lane or a thing where it's really involving supports and support play. It's a lot about how the AD carry players, and I mean, I didn't try to get specifically awesome clips when I was putting together this little video, but it just so happens to be that a lot of the success from NIP in this series against IG came off the back of their bot lane.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a part of me deep in my soul that really wants to argue on Mako's behalf and talk about all the impact he's been able to have on some of these enchanters, but you're completely right at the end of the day, and it really puts a lot of power into the hands of these marksman players, and Awesome absolutely stepped up to the plate, and that's what we're going to need to see from him tonight as he plays up against the last Split's first-team All-Pro bot laner in the form of Elk.
Yeah, I think that for their opponent, they do have a very strong opposition in the bot lane. You know, Elk is a player that has been historic. You know, we've spoken about it a lot on the LPL. How is Elk doing without BLG? Something that we're consistently talking about over the year. I think that Weibo have been up and down. They've had a lot of stressful situations, stressful matches, Gordo.
Yeah, they definitely have, and you see in front of you, you got the lineup for this split coming on up at Zika, JJ, Xiaohu, Elk, and newcomer Hung to the roster, joining over Erha for the spring split, and trying to give Elk that little bit of extra boost to be able to come on up here and really be able to take WBG over the finish line after flashing some real greatness as they made their way all the way to third at the end of last split. But looking back at Winter, I mean, Elk was just putting on a clinic the entire split long. You can take a look at some of the big highlights that he was able to put together there, but he was just a clip machine, especially right at the start of the split, but also once we started to really ramp up into playoffs and WBG started to really find their stride.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this graphic is a great example of how I feel about this roster. Because sometimes, like, oh my god, Elk, the most kills in the LPL. Look at his Kai'Sa. And then, oh, Xiaohu walked into a Bard ult when he was already out of it. And then, oh my god, guys, they look at the playoffs run, and then, but they just get them dismantled in the next match. And this is how I feel about this roster. It's something that you'd like to see tied up as a fan of Weibo specifically, but as a fan of the LPL, it's incredibly entertaining to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, the peak of though they're so back is probably them beating AL in last split's playoffs and being able to secure that top 3. And then you might as well go right back to the bottom here with a 0-2 loss to AL just last week to kick off the new split. So, I mean, same opponent, couple months apart, totally different results. The one consistent factor really feels like it has been Elk down here in the bottom lane, putting together these sorts of highlights, game in, game out, beginning of the split to end of the split. I mean, this is the one that everybody remembers right here at the front with
this is what I was talking about.
Turnaround quadra at the beginning, but I mean, it ramps up in the playoffs, and they just kept on coming. The hits never stopped, and Elk has really proven himself to be among the best bot laners, if not one of the best bot laners in the entire league since separating out from his former team and getting out of this Weibo roster.
Now, I'm not too sure how I feel about the, like, where are we on the... You can't see my hand. There it is. I don't know how we are right now, where we're sitting, but we're going to judge that over the course of the series because it feels like it's a little bit dire after their series against AL. The game 1 was really an open and shut game. Game 2, I think Elk did pretty well. I think he was on Yunara that game. They had a Nocturne. It was okay. The last fight was a bit unfortunate to watch from Elk's perspective. Like, he tried his best, but we're on... Where's my hand? We're on like this, but we haven't left the station yet, but it's angled downwards. So, exactly. We need to angle it back up a little bit before we take off. And I think this is a good series to do that on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about them being so over upon losing to AL, but AL, especially in the regular season, they've been some real tough contenders. This is a chance to play against a middle of the pack, bottom of the pack, still kind of figuring it out, NIP team, and really solidifying yourself as still being worthy of that top 3, top 4 conversation that you got yourself into in the winter split, and just getting yourself right back into the groove of things and starting to get that respect that you hope for as a team, right? JJ and Elk both getting some All-Pro honors there. JJ over on the 3rd team, Elk on the 1st team. You really hope that Hong can get you over the finish line and really get you into kind of potential qualifying for MSI form over the course of this split.
And I know, Gordo, when talking about the, when you were saying you're pulling some stats for these players, and you said that you were cherry picking, like ones that were close. Okay, fair enough, but these are really important stats. KDA, very close. Goal per minute, very close. Goal percentage, ridiculously close. So it isn't even like they aren't that relevant, and like these players have been close, right? And I would love to see how they play into each other. With the meta evolving as to how, like, we are seeing zero engage support. Some hooks because they're good into some of the enchanters, a little bit of Nautilus, some Shen, although we don't need to talk about that. And then, some more mage focused, the Nico, the Karma, which is also an enchanter as well, but can function as a mage. It really does put a ton of focus on the bot lane. And we know what Elk can do. I'm on the awesome train as of tonight. I really want to see what this player can do.
Yeah, absolutely here. You don't have to pull back the curtain and talk about how I get my stats all the time, but I think it's really worth bringing up in this case, right? Because these guys really have been both so critical towards their team's success, and you can see how close they do end up to each other like you were bringing on up here. And I think Awesome really capped off, what was a strong winter split with a really strong performance up against IG last night. Like you said, could have been a 2-0. If it had been a 2-0, I think Awesome gets player of the series, very, very likely. We're getting deep into alternate universes here, but I don't think that's too out of the question to say. And now going to be a big test for him up against Elk, who, again, was so good in the first split, got that first team All-Pro, and now is looking to level up with what the team hopes is going to be an upgrade in the bottom lane in the form of Hong.
Look, I'm a fan of hypothetical situations, Gordo. All right, you don't have to. I'm all on board with these, but I want to talk about before we get into our game. I mean, there are some really interesting things going on in the drafting. I think I really like the LPL's answer to the Pantheon over in the LCK. Pantheon's been kind of running around, and last night actually, Gen G did play the Nocturne into Pantheon, and it looked really good. I think that the LPL feels to me a step ahead of, we're going to answer the Pantheon with the Nocturne, and that's going to be our main priority in terms of the global pressure. The Xin Zhao has still found a ton of priority, along with that like Lulu first pick that's rising up as well. I think a lot of potential options for both these teams. I didn't write it down because I'm stupid. Let me get it. NIP on first pick, Weber on blue side. So NIP with the opening choice. Keen to see where their priorities lie. Is it in the jungle? Is it this Lulu? Is it something else? They're going to go for maybe a Rise. We've seen that be pretty countered by some things in the draft, Cassiopeia and Nivea. I think right now, I've seen some teams actually prefer to take the second pick and use that counter pick for top lane, for mid, and really thrive with that.
Yeah, I mean, even being able to get a counter of some sort in the bottom lane, if you somehow don't end up getting them in the first rotation, can be super valuable there as well. Personally, I'm here to see if Hoya's going to bust out some crazy stuff. I mean, this is a guy who is kind of perhaps even tier 1 globally's premier Varus top lane player. Started to draw a whole bunch of Varus bans towards the end of last split, as he was the one kind of really pushing that pick forward. And, it played a really big role in NIP being able to kind of surge at the end of the split, get that placement that they did into the play-in, and get themselves into this group in the first place. In a lot of ways, you could say that NIP is here in Group Ascent because of that Hoya Varus top. And he's shown that he's willing to play even more of the wacky stuff. Got to bust out the Anivia top yesterday. Perhaps to not the most success in the world, but we're happy to see it regardless. I hope my man is still cooking and has something to show us here tonight. I think that's something you could look forward to if you're a fan of some of those off-the-wall picks.
I am a fan, but you got to know when, because there was an Anivia top recently, which has been rising, unfortunately, or fortunately if you're a fan of it. And sometimes those picks like that, like the Varus top, like the Nefiri top, although that did win that one time, Flander played it, sometimes they don't work. And then your team does really miss that, pick that kind of cements the draft together. Because one thing about these like really creative picks is that they are creative in the way that they mess up the enemy team's draft. They're not prepared for it, and it can really throw a wrench in. But over the course of a professional player's career, they also don't have as many games played with an Anivia top as they do like a Renekton or a Sion. So the game plan from the rest of your team also has to shift around how you are playing. So I think if you've practiced it a ton, you've scrimmed on it, that's great. Sometimes, although it's boring, you got to go with the Sion. You got to pick Dion. But I am a fan of them too.
Absolutely. I think Hoya may be a little bit less than others to go for those kinds of, safer, quieter top lane picks. I'm hoping we get to see a little bit more fighting between these two guys today, but will depend on the drafts, of course, and there is definitely plenty of room to have a powerful front line, especially when we are in that kind of enchanter plus hard carry meta that you were talking about earlier in the bottom lane. You got to find the frontliners from somewhere, and if you're hoping to be a part of that Nocturne Pantheon trade, then it's certainly not going to be quite as much from the jungle as it could have been in perhaps some metas past when we're in Sejuani Maokai mode or something like that. So we will wait and see where we're going to find that priority put on the day. But looks like we should be ready to get into draft here very, very shortly, soon as both teams are fully settled in. And like you said, it is going to be NIP with the first pick in game at number 1, so we'll find out what they want to use to drive the draft forward.
I think I want to talk about, we got a moment here, the Circle of Suck. I wrote it down because I wasn't going to remember it. So we have Weibo, right, who lost to AL. AL's a great team. We know that. You were talking about that earlier. But AL lost to Top Esports. Top Esports lost to IG. And IG nearly lost to NIP. Now, draw from that what you will. IG did win. But again, some would say that NIP could have won that game or that series.
Can't disagree with you there as we get into the draft for game at number 1. Find out if NIP can do anything to close the loop here and really solidify themselves as potential contenders here in the group, or if Weibo Gaming will start to find their stride in the split, get some of their first wins of the season under their belt, and start to stand up for this next spring split, get themselves into MSI form, and see if they can contend to be top 2 at the end of the split and get themselves to MSI. Now, first pick going the way of NIP. Hoya loses his Varus top in the first round of bans once again. That's one thing we're not going to be seeing, and they're going to take away the Rumble here. A popular pick across the board, especially favorited with Zika.
There's the Pantheon. It has been very globally enjoyed alongside the Rise. I think NIP can go something like... Okay, never mind. This might just be the Vi Ari. A bit more team fight focused, pick focused. I was going to say could see the Anivia into the Rise and maybe the Nocturne, but that's banned. So it will just be this Vi Ari. Options here for Weibo. Just going to be this blind top. I mean, Gallia would be pretty good here in my opinion. Another global. But then you would really need a side to play to. And you still do need a side to play to. Karma's banned. Ashe Seraphine, Corki Nami. We saw Awesome and Dro play the Lucian Milio. Lucian Nami still an option as well. We've got the Yunara Lulu. A ton of powerful bot lanes for Weibo to play towards. For NIP, though, I think they have a ton more options.
Yeah, it's interesting this early in the series to not have bot lanes go a little bit sooner. Karma, the only one would be played down there that's currently banned away. And the Varus. I get it. Most people play Varus bot lane. That's a ban directed at Hoya, and I will not be convinced otherwise. Bard and the Lulu are going to join the lists of enchanters that are going to be less available, and that might start to kind of push us outside of that enchanter meta a little bit. The Ashe Seraphine, definitely one that you still have to keep in mind, been a high priority across the board, and it's not really picked separately from one another, so if you can snap up the first one, that is always going to be valuable for you, and you got to believe that's probably what Weibo are angling for here. I doubt they ban it. It's probably going to have to come out of NIP.
Well, let's look at the support still up. Bard Nautilus, Lulu taken. The Nami, Seraphine options to be taken away here in the bans to hamper the other. But if you do ban one, you lose the option of going the one that Weibo don't takes, because NIP will not get picked here. They ban the Ashe. So this is concerning because I think that Weibo can just go a Corki Nami. Maybe NIP are prepared with that Lucian Milio that they showed against IG. Looked really good. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. It makes their mid-game really, really strong, this NIP's mid-game. Instead, Weibo are going to be the ones to take away this Lucian, perhaps. What support would Hung be playing in this? I'm not quite sure. Going to be the Nami so far. Just a little bit more time to talk about the AD carry choice.
And deciding that the Nami is perhaps the most valuable aspect here, you could play the Lucian Nami if you wanted to as well, and it does look like it is going to be that Lucian Milio counter pick for Awesome and Shuo, like you talked about. That is going to open up. Surely this is Corki.
Ooh.
Oh, could try to play around it and go
All
for
right.
Israel. Not the most inherent synergies with the Nami if they do end up going for that, but can play a little further back. They're going to just decide, no, we want the Corki Nami even into the counter pick. This is a staple of the meta for a reason, and we want to make sure we're going to be the ones who have it on our side.
I mean, Weibo still doing some of their own research. Obviously, that they've done their prep. They know that this is coming. I think NIP, their draft is very mid-game focused. Not that these champions don't have good late game. You know, they've got a great pick comp here. The Rumble ult on top of the pick is awesome. The Lucian scales are much better than it has in past, especially with Emilio. But their mid-game around Dragons, picking off the first person that walks in is a really, really strong part of their draft. For Weibo, the good thing for that is they have the Pantheon Shield to deny some of the pick potential. But most of their draft is about finding side lane access, roaming down and getting a lead on this Corki Nami. You do have great scaling, Sion with the Rise as well. The Corki doesn't scale too badly, but I am concerned that if Weibo start losing the bot lane 2v2, which we've seen NIP in this matchup do really well, and then the Dragon stacking comes through for NIP because their pick mid-game is so strong that Weibo might be blown out of the water a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really interested in watching the bot lane 2v2 play out here. If either side is able to, build themselves up an advantage, going to be a huge boon to how these team comps are set to play out. A lot of strong mid-jungle dueling power from that Vi-Ahri combo, of course, but whoever's able to take that advantage, they're mainly going to be looking to use it to get over to the bottom lane. So very excited to see how this one plays out. Eyes on the junglers, eyes on the 2v2, see who's going to be able to put their respective marksmen in the lead.
Oh!
Right, well, I'm going to have to interrupt the Gyos a little bit here because Awesome just lost a ton of HP as well as the summoner heal from Zhuo. Now JJ is looking for a little bit of an invade, but he's going to get found by Hoya, loses half of his HP, and everybody's going to back away just a little bit weaker than they would have been otherwise.
This is some crazy prep from Weibo. So they send Zika down to the bot lane to chunk enemy bot, and then TP to the top side, gets the heal out so that Weibo have priority wave 1 in the bot lane, and then they send Pantheon to the Raptors to get a ward, which Rumble had pulled off top lane. Like, a lot of moving parts in this, first minute or two, and it results in Weibo having priority in bot and top because Huya, instead of starting on the wave, was covering for that JJ invade.
Yeah, and now does find themselves with a little bit of a health advantage. Probably not going to affect the jungle clear too much, but something to have in mind with the summoner advantage in the bottom side. And immediately Elk and Hung going to look to capitalize. They hit level 2 first. They extend the trade. Awesome's down below half HP, and this is after healing up to full after the level 1. Shuo going to take some abuse here as well. No more defensive summoners available on either side.
Yeah, so the Lucian lanes, most of the time, do struggle in the first couple of levels because Lucian is quite kept by his level 3, especially his supports can be too. Braum, not so much, but Nami, very gate kept by the first 2 levels. Milio, similarly. You know, you love those, the shield plus the campfire, and then obviously having the soccer ball is really good too for the lane, but that means that NIP, while playing a little bit aggressive in the early game to try to fight back some of that pressure, did take a ton of HP negative to their health bars. And now Weibo have priority over pretty much all their lanes. I mean, the lane is bouncing back now in favor of Hoya, and Care managing to cancel the base. They will even the lanes up a little bit, but I am super concerned for this bot lane, Gordo. Like, already having to take a base here. The wave is pushing away from NIP. Not a great situation, not a great start.
Yeah, and they want that wave like that, right? They are choosing actively to recall, lose a couple of CS while the wave pushes in, and get themselves into a favorable position. When they return, gets the tier and a dagger for Elk's Corki, and they just say, we're going to keep on playing the lane exactly as it has been going with the already nearly 2-wave advantage they've built up for themselves.
I am interested to see where the jungle attention is going to be first. As I say that, Jizya approaching the top lane, stacking up his passive so he can use the movement speed from his E. Let's see, does this work out?
And Jizya making his way on up, looking for Hoya. Hoya able to get to the bush before he gets stunned. Able to flash to the next bush, and that's going to hose the gank.
I was really sure that Jeje was going to stack his passive one more time and use E for that movement speed, but he doesn't do it. It still gets Hoya's flash out, though, as Guwon is down here. I guess the health bars are a bit too low for NIP, because I would love a situation here where maybe you can dive just to deny the farm, but you can see that Xiaohu was hovering down the bot side. He doesn't have ult, but because he's missing, I assume NIP say we can't go for the dive there, even to just deny some of the CS. So Weibo going to be able to pick up that farm. L building a pretty decent CS lead. If NIP were able to deny those like 2 or 3 waves there, that would have been really nice. But some jungle pathing around after these starts. It's really just this lead for Elk, which is where we want to see the emphasis on this game. Not only the players and how they play with their teams, but with these comps too, Gordo.
Yeah, definitely. I like the look from Guwon to maybe look for that dive, but like you said, just not feeling like the cards came together, and so Elk gets paid off for the gamble that they would be able to pick up that wave on the bounce back. That recall timing that they value so highly. Awesome finds a nice little trade, though, inside the cozy campfire. Firing back into Elk, recovers a lot of HP, gets the warm hugs to block some of the damage, and Elk takes a lot more damage than he bargained for on that one.
We'll be able to push out this wave and maybe get a reset. The dragon has spawned, and no level 6 yet for junglers, so I assume that this will just be a push out of the bot lane, but Guwon is around. He isn't level 6 yet, but with Care rotating down too.
JJ looking for the counter gank, though. It does look like it might be a full-on 3-on-3, but instead Hung gonna flash away to get that extra bit of distance. Heals blown by both parties, and both junglers will return to their clears.
Okay, so Shuo uses the heal for the movement speed. Hung responds and then also has to flash. Doesn't want to get caught by anything. I think that NIP were a little bit too quick to the punch there. They had Guwon and Care coming down. Maybe they could have used some prior to get the dragon. But it will be a dragon starter for NIP. Jeje around. Spotted on the ward. Let's see. Can he get in? Obviously, Pantheon Q Smite is very, very scary here for NIP.
Yeah, they're calling over Xiaohu as well, coming through on the rise, going to Realm Warp to regroup with the rest of his team. It's a full 4-on-4 now. Weibo approaching from the bottom side. Flash over. There's that smite with the Q, but they're going to try to clap back. Guan throws himself in with the cease and desist. We'll be able to pick up the first blood off that one, but Guan's going to drop down to Xiaohu. Hong falling lower and lower. Awesome picks up the kill credit. Xiaohu trying to fight back. 1v3. Gets the spell flux through the team, but has to flash out at the end of the day. NIP take the kill lead 2-1. Weibo secure the dragon.
Yeah, Weibo with that Q smite, very scary. They get the Drake, but Guwon sends it with a flash ult onto Elk in the backline. Pantheon ult won't get a ton. Nice attempt there from JJ, but Care with this ult, this is the team fighting potential of the Ahri up against the Ryze. I think that Ryze with Actualizer has a much better time team fighting than he used to, but the Ryze ult is used. Ahri has ult, so she can dash around, do extra damage, get the resets possible. So we see here the flash in from JJ, Q flash smite, really nice combo, but Guwon says, okay, that's all their damage, let's go. On to Elk, insta kills AD carry, and then a ton of that team fighting damage isn't here. Guwon falls, sure, but Care is dashing around this fight, and he just does more.
Yeah, Xiaohu with a good bit of damage at the very back end there, but takes him too long to kill Guan as well. He gets a lot done before his body hits the floor, and they get themselves a 1K gold lead off the back of it, and puts Awesome right back in the game, right? 2 kills on the Lucian.
Yeah, and that gold lead that Elk had started to build up is completely flipped onto Awesome now. And, I mean, Elk still has the CS advantage. It's not what it was. -1. Good job, Care. But when Awesome finishes this Essence Reaver, I think Corki, the 2-item spike is very strong, but this Essence Reaver spike for Lucian is really nice. This is a nice timing from Zika. I don't think you can expect this.
For it. It's an interesting side of the map for Zika to be on, and he's going to find his way onto Guan. That's going to be a kill going the way of Zika. He's going to just TP his way right on up there. No opportunity to interrupt. Zika getting involved on the map nice and early for a top laner.
And he's not even really losing a ton. I mean, this is Scion into Rumble. The Rumble doesn't have First Strike. I assume he does have cashback, but you're not getting that, like, printing money Rumble into Scion matchup. So the lane is going completely fine for Zika. Nice bubble from Hung. But Zika finds a really good timer again to roam down to the bot lane, influence the map, and then TP back. Guwon had no flash. How do you expect Zika being there?
Exactly. I mean, Zika understands the assignment, knows that this game is going to turn on the bottom lane, and wants to make sure that he's going to be able to have some impact. It's going to be a nice culling coming out of Awesome there to try to push the opposition back. Elk and Hong both find themselves a little bit below half HP here, but that mana bar for Awesome is running lower and lower.
What I will say is, for NIP, it is a really unfortunate situation that they lost that dragon. It's not comfortable because they want to use the dragon stacking as their advantage until the Ryze gets damaged, until this Corki gets to 2 items. Guwon is around, but like you said, Awesome, no mana. And JJ's here to cover. TP as well?
Coming in though. Hoya's looking to get involved. Elk going to get healed up a little bit. JJ going to get the fight started early as they see that TP coming in. Guan loses
There's
about
no
half
wave.
HP. Now who's going to tank the turret? Because there's no more minions left to be had. NIP forced to back away, but the next wave is arriving and they need to make this dive work now. Xiaohu arriving from the bottom side. Guan going to open up with the cease and desist. Here comes the tidal wave across the team. Guan going to trade 1-for-1. Flash forward from Hoya, trying to burn down Hong. Hong staying alive for a little bit longer. Will eventually drop. Elk has to flash back underneath the turret. Xiaohu providing covering fire. But at the end of the day, NIP going to claim their 2-for-1. Xiaohu porting up to the dragon. Just wants to get his way back to mid.
Yeah, I kind of clenched my teeth there. I was like, where is he going? What is he doing? But it was just a mid. What a crazy fight. NIP say, yeah, we're completely flipping the game, because if that doesn't go well, the game is so hard to play now. You've lost a lot of that lead that you generated, but now Awesome does have that Essence Reaver built up. Zhuo has the Echoes of Helia. Really, really nice item for the Milio to get. It means that when Lucian does rotate to the mid lane, that should be soon, because you really want that Lucian in the mid lane to generate you mid-prio, to roam around the map with your jungler and your support together, that this 1-item / 2-item spike when it comes through is going to be really, really scary. I wish that we did get a replay there, because I think it was really played by NIP. It was a bit sorry, it was very telegraphed that it was coming with the TP, but they still played it really well.
Yeah, a brief moment of indecision perhaps, but the next wave comes in and they say, hey, you know what? We're here. We committed the resources. We're making this dive happen. And good aggression from Hoya to make sure to be able to close out that extra kill onto Hong and make sure that this is going to turn into a play that they can write home about. Does look like all three grubs going to go over here. That is going to be a secure for Guan.
Well, grubs this game, I mean, grubs this year haven't been that crazy, but especially this game, I guess denying them from Sion is good, denying them from like a split pushing Rise is good, but not a ton of value in my opinion. I think this next Drake that's up is really important. Neither team really feel that confident to pull the trigger. I'm super shocked because everyone's got these important items coming online, especially Awesome. Elk doesn't have a first item because he has to go the tier, and Trinity Force is pretty expensive. And Elk is able to do this.
Wow. Elk just playing up and aggressive, taking a lot more than he bargained
Whoa!
for. From Awesome, trying to take the 1v2, but a big one hits him in the face, and Elk will claim a kill right back. Meanwhile, Weibo jumping in on the mid lane. Guan going to throw out the cease and desist, tries to lock down Xiaohu, but he's got too much health for that. Guan forced to flash away, Care forced to spirit rush defensively, and Weibo winning on two fronts. Back in there's Care, but can't make it happen. No way.
Yeah. He's trying, but just be the rest of the ult charges used. I'm going to talk about the grubs first before I get into the awesome play. I really don't like the grubs take from Guan. I think his bot lane is on a really strong timer where they should be fighting, you know, Malignant's Ari with ult up super strong against just Roa completed Rise. And instead, Guan chooses to go for the grubs, which Weibo happily give. Are we really not going to get a replay of Awesome going for the 2v1? I'm shocked, but it's a really confident attempt. Didn't mechanically work out perfectly. I think if Zhuo was there, he really close on the heal cooldown. If he was there for the whole thing, easily, Awesome would have been able to find that 2v2 kill. And this guy's confident. If you say anything about Awesome, he's confident.
He certainly is, but big loss for him to not be able to pick that one up. Now he finds himself back in a deficit in the bottom lane, and this is a tough competition to play short-range marksman into. That's true for both these teams. Definitely want to be able to maintain that lead wherever you can get it. Elk now on the Trinity Force. He is going to make sure that Hoya knows about it, pushing him back underneath the turret. Equalizer going to be used to clear the way, recognizing the threat that he's under, and Hoya's got to bail.
I wouldn't even be surprised talking about... Oh, hang on. Might be seeing a dive in top lane. I see that Guan is around, but wave has been cleared out, so...
Sion things, baby.
Awesome will just tank 2 turret shots because he feels like it, and then they'll walk away. But I wouldn't even be surprised to see Awesome go rapid fire cannon. Obviously, the main choice is the Navori, and that would make, you know, that would make just as much sense. But I think that it's a good call. You know, there is a very short range comp. Getting that extra range on the Lucian with the Milio as well would be really nice. You would heavily outrange the entire team and be able to proc that enhanced, like, energized auto. I think either choice is still good, but could be an option. I am becoming worried for NIP because they had a lead, then they lost it. Oh, nice pick.
Oh, jumping right on top of Xiaohu here. He is going to have to flash back away. Will be able to stay alive. Here's JJ getting in on the action. Care underneath the turret, rooted up. Trades one for one. Mid laner for mid laner. JJ looking for a little bit more onto Hoya, cannot find it. Guan stays alive as well, and it might just be the 1-for-1, or it might be more, as Awesome advances forward, nearly solos out Hong. Elk arrives for a little bit of extra damage, but he's got a Valk over the wall as well. And Awesome taking names and pushing back members of Weibo.
Like I said, this guy's confident. He wants to get in there. He's hungry for these kills. That's good to see from a Lucian player. You need to play that aggressive, but it's really unfortunate Care can't get the reset earlier. It ends up going 1-for-1 for that reason, because he can't get the reset, gets rooted under tower. It'll still be fine, you know. This game is mostly, right now, being dictated by the fact that Weibo have 2 dragons. NIP, in their series against IG, one of the reasons why, or one of the biggest reasons why they lost that first game, despite having a massive gold lead, was because they were caught out before Elder, but it got to a position where they gave Infernal Soul, and Elder was up. Another game here where their Dragon priority, their positioning, their setups haven't been up to par as their opposition, and the gold lead, while mostly insignificant, you know, 200 gold here, 400 gold here, being pulled back a lot by Guwon, the Dragons are impactful.
They definitely are. Having that 2-0 lead, giving Weibo a lot of breathing room, knowing that NIP are nowhere near a soul, and giving them the potential win con of a Mountain Soul themselves. NIP going to start off this Rift Herald a little bit more impactful than the Grubs. It does look like Weibo are interested in a contest. They've got their bot lane down to the bottom side here. TP coming in from Care does not look like it's going to be interrupted, and that means Hoya's far away.
Here comes the Scion ult as well. It's taken by the Pantheon.
Guwon getting on in there, finds the cease and desist, but the follow-up's not there. Zika going to be able to flash on forward, looking for the decimating smash. Can't quite find it, but getting good damage onto the carries regardless. Elk finishes off Shuo, and he knows how low Care is. He wants to get over the wall. He's firing away with the rockets. Hoya drops to Xiaohu. Elk not able to get his man, but Awesome and Care, they lost so much health at the beginning of that, they had to back away.
We saw a little bit late on the Ahri click. I saw 15, so it was probably close to 10. But again, we are flipping an objective in front of a Pantheon, guys. This is not good setup. It's a random Herald that you don't really need, and you let JJ walk in. Like, look at where they're positioned. NIP is so scared. They're all on the backside ready to leave. Ulting Elk instead. This is a similar play to the first time, but this time, Elk doesn't die. He's completely fine, full health. Guwon has to use everything. And at this point in the game, Scion is unkillable. No one can touch him. There's a conversation about whether Scion will die this game at all, but I'm not ready for that conversation. NIP need to be ready to decide what they're going to do now, though, about this Scion, because he is not dying.
Great shield there as well from JJ, keeping himself alive with just a sliver HP, absorbing damage from Hoya. Getting his team back on a way. Now they're looking for their soul point. Shuo going to be the first one to take damage here, and plenty of damage it is. Hong nailing some of that damage boosts onto Elk, who pushes them back. Care looking around on the flank, going to try to send it, but on vision the entire way through. It would be so difficult for him here. Rift Herald's been thrown down as well. They're going to try to use it for a little bit of combat, perhaps. Elk gets inside. Elk is looking for the knockups, but Elk is now out of the fight. Tidal Wave coming on through, and this has gotten chaotic out of nowhere. Hoya going to layer on down the Equalizer, trying to burn down Xiaohu. He's alive with a sliver. Finally, he'll drop. That gets a reset for Care. He gets a second kill onto Hong's Nami, trying to back away, forced out through the backside of the fight. Elk looking for him, cannot find him. Rift Herald crashed in mid. That's getting dealt with by Awesome, and NIP, they scrape together a fight win where one does not belong. Care trying to make the long run out of here. He will be cut off, though, at some point by Hoya.
Yeah, this is a pretty sad end to the Ahri's reign. I loved the positioning of Weibo around this Drake. When they saw Ahri on the ward, when the sweeper didn't, when Care's sweeper didn't see that ward behind the dragon, Weibo didn't immediately react by showing off that they knew Care was there. Instead, Elk just slowly positioned himself towards the top end of the fight. You can see where he's standing. Instead, he ends up clicking the Herald by complete accident, I have to believe.
Gotta be an accident.
And this completely runs the fight down, because Elk is so confused where to go. Weibo feel like they have to send it, and then NIP get a window here to send it themselves. Elk does end up coming back around and getting a nice knock-up, but there's no way NIP should have had an in there, but because of Elk's mistake, they do, and now we come back from live and we're in the same position we were. So none of it actually mattered because Weibo get the soul point anyway, NIP lose mid-tower. Yeah, so we definitely missed another play on top of that, because I feel like NIP were fine, and now they're not.
Well, that's because they've been short of carry for the last minute straight. They lost Care at the end of the last fight, and before Care gets back, or perhaps as Care gets back, they lose Awesome, and now they're still without Awesome. They're completely without pressure in this mid and bot sides. So Weibo walk away with a bunch of gold.
So when you dance on the edge, like Awesome has been doing, you aren't supposed to fall, but he did. And when that happens, in this comp, the entire team kind of falls with you, unfortunately. And that is what happened.
Try and for a play.
Guan is just sending it again.
Good stuff from Hong there, just stops Guan in his tracks, can't get in there for the season assist. Second tries the charm though, in goes Guan, in goes the kill, and now Hong left without any backup. He's gonna fall down here as well. The rest of Weibo arrive, but this is a 3 versus 5 after how this fight has started out. Xiaohu going to try to fall back underneath the turret. Zika cannot stay alive, tanking up 5 members for very long, and will drop down as well. It's 3-0 to NIP.
Can we stop Baron here?
More here. Xiaohu trying his best to return fire. Has Awesome and Care both firing away at him. Flash forward from Xiaohu, trying to pick off Awesome, but he's going to pay for it as Guan gets right back in there. JJ here for the backup, returns damage back onto the Vi, but JJ just takes too much, tries to flash away, but it's too late. JJ falls as well. It's 4 kills total to NIP.
Okay. So Awesome fell off the cliff, but he had his climbing gear ready to go. He was harnessed in because he immediately climbs back up. Guwon's ready to go. They assassinate Elk instantly. Elk!
Elk's getting in there, flash forward, gets 1 kill onto Zhuo. Cannot find Awesome, but will pick up 1 more kill worth of credit.
All right, so both AD carries are completely out for blood this game. Guwon finds Elk. Awesome and Care over the wall together. Elk steps too far forward here when he's already dodged the engage. Culling over the wall, Care over the wall. Baron's being started as we speak here. It looks like it might just be taken for free by Weibo, but NIP with a snap. Blow up Elk, take down the Nami as well. NIP, what do you have?
Well, let's see if
they can't
NIP
flip against the
going
Pantheon.
To get over here. Weibo probably don't want to commit to this. Zika getting hit by that knockback. Probably wishing he didn't, but does not end up punished for it. And now Weibo, a little bit softened up by the Baron, going to have to back away and give NIP their turn.
We are 11 kills each at 23 minutes in of our game 1 here, Gordo. I feel as though there are great things to come in this series, and I have a feeling that it's going to be a long one. Elk with the massive lead here for Weibo, and I mean, that's a champion that loves to have leads like this. I assume this is going to be a Serpent's Fang third item, so a little bit of a fake item, but still really good in this game, you know, against the Milio. Does a ton of work. There's shielding as well around, you know, Vi, Rumble. There is other shielding, but mostly for this Milio. I think that NIP in that fight showed perfectly how their comp needs to work. They find Elk. There is not enough protection for this Corki 9 times out of 10, unless mechanically Weibo are playing it really well or NIP are flubbing their dive. So if it's played well, and they blow up Elk, the fight looks awesome. However, if that doesn't happen like we saw earlier, where Elk doesn't take any damage, he flashes away, then the fight looks really hard for NIP because the Scion is a big threat. The Ryze is building closer towards that spot. Does have, I think for me, Ryze is Roa finished, Seraph's finished, level 16 Actualizer. He's still, you know, 2 out of 4. So yeah, the Zhonya's is a little questioning for me because it's not like he's being altered at all by Guwon, so I don't particularly understand why Xiaohu feels like he needs to. 40 seconds on this Drake, good positioning from Guwon. Get some good info that there's no wards in the bot side. He can stay here for a long time. He can stay here nearly the entire time until the Drake comes up, and Weibo will hunt for him. They're pinging that they know he's not in front of them. He must be behind them. You can see the missing pings. They actually spot him out with the ward. Really good game sense from Weibo.
Yeah, really smart. And I mean, Guan now retreating, going for the recall, going to come over here and try to contest, but Weibo have full control over this bottom river, and they're on Soul Point. This is going to be Mountain Soul for them if NIP can't get in here and stop them from taking the dragon.
The good news is that NIP have a ton of sustain with the shielding, with the healing from Milio. Good vision there, will stop, but who face checks? This is really hard to walk in.
Control ward's going to try to save them the face-checking burden, but Zika's still standing up in here, still threatening to go after whoever steps on up. There's the culling opened up, absorbed a little bit by JJ, and that's the only part that Kez get hit. Now they're going to fall back over to the Dragon, but River has been entered. Mission number 1 accomplished for NIP. Guwon's now in the pit. That's mission number 2. Mission number 3, find a way to secure the Dragon or find a way to win the fight. Maybe both. Going on forward onto Zika, into cease and desist. Onto the backline, Elk getting focused with a bubble. Going to buy Elk the time he needs to make the trade. Zika drops down on the front line. Xiaohu looking for a target. It's going to be awesome. He's going to have to dash back away, and Hoya going to be beaten down by the zombie. Care dives forward looking looking for Elk, cannot find him, gonna have to settle for a support, but the fight is over in favor of Weibo, and Dragon Soul soon to follow.
Dragon Soul, maybe Baron as well. They have a ton of damage with the Corki and the Rise. Again, you can see NIP's game plan. They are all-inning Elk or the game is over, and this time again it doesn't work. Guwon ult, Hoya ult, Care flashes forward with the charm, and there's just not enough damage to get it done. They know we cannot flip in front of a Pantheon with his upgraded Q. So here's the Rumble ult, here's the Vial, but Elk buffers his dash through it. Care's charm with the combo doesn't do enough. Elk lives. Zika buys enough time, and then he goes into zombie form and does a ton of damage in that as well, and no one from Weibo has died here.
No, none at all. Care tries to get in here at the back end, lands another charm, but once again, it's not enough. Elk gets charmed twice in this fight and doesn't die.
Yeah, good charms from Care, but just not enough damage, not enough follow-up from Elk. We're back!
And we're getting right back into the action. Schwo gonna be the one who falls, and that's
Where'd they
going
go?
to be Guwon as well. Quick 2-0 for Weibo to go with their Mountain Soul, and you know what's gonna look nice alongside that Soul? It's gonna be this Baron.
Yeah, I was talking about in draft, Gordo, that the Pantheon has been getting counted in the LPL by the Nocturne. Well, NIP banned the Nocturne. They didn't want to first pick it. Instead, they took the Rumble. And the Pantheon has kind of been everywhere this game, providing so much space. Elk, in this 2v2 so far, has come out on top. And this is with NIP's counter pick that they played against IG. Hung has done a really good job on the Nami as well, providing peel. But Weibo have played this comp really, really well. I think that it's a tough comp to play against this style from NIP. If Elk isn't perfect on his movement, on his buffers, on his summoner spells, if Hung isn't perfect with his peel, Elk just gets one shot, and we've seen what happens when he does.
Yep. Xiaohu been playing so up and confident this game as well. And oh, Guwon! Speaking of confidence, Elk is just gonna one-shot him underneath his inner turret right in front of the rest of NIP. And now they're down their main engage tool, they're down their primary frontliner, they're losing inner turrets, and Weibo are knocking on the base doors.
Yep, Scions in mid to continue this kind of 4-1 style. JJ hovering in the middle there, waiting for an opportunity for a stun, waiting for an opportunity to deny flanks even. Weibo have a really easy time here. They just stand there. NIP have no way of clearing. Gordo, you were talking about the range before. Well, how do you clear the minions when you're so outranged by the minions? It's not a champ range diff, it's a minion range diff.
Yep, that is definitely going to be difficult to deal with, especially without that Vi, providing a little bit of interference, providing a little bit of threat. Now finally re-arriving to the scene is Guwon, looking for the flank here. Already lost one inhibitor, an inhibitor turret, now threatening to lose a second one, going for the deep flank behind enemy lines, and NIP might just send the full game here. See if they can get it. Back onto Elk. He's up in front. Culling opens up onto him. Stays alive for a second. Will drop down. But now Zika's on top of the rest of them. Can they find the fight? Absolutely not. Zika falls. Xiaohu not able to get in there with the damage. NIP take a quick 2-0 and keep this game going.
It is actually ridiculous how much Weibo's comp relies on Elk staying alive. And when he isn't alive, it's done. And, okay, well, Color Caster, ADC's dead, the fight's lost, wow. But, like, Xiaohu is massively strong with a big lead. He has those strong items that I was talking about before, level 16, Jezio at the front line, this mega tank Scion, and the second Elk dies, the fight is completely lost. They can't get through NIP after that. They're too scary. I love how creative Guwon is getting. Some might say 1-7, but these are the some that isn't me, Gordo. You know, we were talking about earlier. Some would say Guwon is not having the best game. He's being creative. When it works, it works.
Hey, 2.0 KDA, all right? Could be worse. He's getting his jobs done. He's finding the flanks. You don't want this guy picking up the kills. You want Awesome and Care to be on the receiving end. And so far, they are the two with the most kills on the team. Still, though, that play, as good as it was, just stalls the game. It does not put NIP back in control. Does get you through the Baron, though, and will give you another opportunity for a team fight. Still, the damage on this turret is just a little bit too much. Elk is pushing it back, and Elk is looking for more. Valkyrie forward, finding the poke damage with the rockets, and JJ hiding out in the jungle, looking for the engage.
Oh, Awesome's dead!
Get out of the backline. Awesome's been killed! Elk finds him thanks to Zika's engage, and JJ gonna take out Guan on the opposite side. 4-man Realm Warp right on top of Kair's head, forces flashes out of him and Hoya, and this base, it's chaotic, but it's Weibo in control.
That was really well played by Weibo. The Nami ult from one side, the Scion ult from the other, completely squeezed Awesome into a position where he just has to die. Weibo approaching the base, a hard-fought game, but they want to win.
Yeah, JJ taking both turrets at once might fall on down here, but it's going to take both of NIP's lives with them. A double kill to JJ, and game number 1 goes the way of Weibo. After some back-and-forth shenanigans, they reign supreme.
Some really high execution fights there from Weibo Gordo. That end one was really well played. A lot of the protection around Elk was really well played from Weibo. I think NIP had some awesome fights too, pun intended, with, you know, killing Elk, the dives, Guan finding these creative angles. But that last fight from Weibo was really, really nice. The tidal wave approaching from this way, the Scion ult approaching from this way, and Awesome completely trapped in the middle. I think it's a tough call for MVP, I will say, because I think Elk had a great game, but I think JJ piloted a lot of that mid-game.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for Xiaohu as well. Did a lot to pull space, did a lot to cover those early dives, right? He was always there to make sure that this Lucian Melio couldn't get right back into the game off of a powerful dive on towards his bot lane. They kind of ended up back in the game anyway, but he was certainly in good positions to be able to respond. And in those fights where Elk did go down, or where Elk was the primary focus to the point that he couldn't output damage, it was Xiaohu picking up the slack. It was Xiaohu holding down Kair so that he couldn't finish off the kill, couldn't spirit rush in onto Elk. He did a really great job there as well. I think the main takeaway you've come away with the game number 1, though, is all the autonomy, all the power of self-determination sat with Weibo the whole way through. They took an early lead, and they threw that lead, and they took that lead back, and they threw that lead again a little bit, but it was always their decision-making determining whether they were ahead or behind. NIP, kind of just victims to whatever way the winds of Weibo blow.
How are we feeling? If this is even, this is so back, and this is so Jova. And I reckon we were like here before. We back here? We a little bit, you know, where are we sitting? What do you think?
We had a little bit of a wave going there for some of the game, but I think we end up probably about where we started. I think Weibo, we talked about some inconsistency there, and I think that's what we saw in game number 1. Yeah.
There was definitely some inconsistency. I will say I like NIP's kind of mentality. You know, they know they have to send it. That's the game plan. That's the comp. We have to go. And they did. They don't just sit there, wait, try for one fight at the end, lose the game. They get, you know, outscaled by the Rise of the Corki later on. Their team comp, you know, it looks for picks. They dove. They did really well. I like that they got creative with it. I like to see creative gameplay, pathing, team fights. It looked really, really good. But for NIP, I think you've got to look at your draft here and say, we had a really solid idea. The idea was really great, but I'm not sure if I agree with the tier list. You know, pro players will talk all the time, or pro teams talk about their tier list of drafting. Where is their, you know, ideology? This definitely was not the draft.
Not the game that we just saw.
But their idea of, okay, we're going to go Vi Ari and Rumble, and that's the game plan, but I don't know how much that empowers your bot lane. And I don't know how much that answers the Pantheon that is 100% coming after.
Yeah, definitely. And the engages were pretty good onto Elk, but they often found that they couldn't really finish them off. And that definitely made things pretty difficult for the later game fights from NIP. You were hoping that Lucian could be in a little bit of a stronger place, right? If he's the one that's further ahead, that, you know, 32.4k damage ends up being a higher number, ends up where he's able to really threaten folks like JJ and Xiaohu, and then the fights play out differently, but it was not the case. They really played for Elk there. They got him into a very powerful state. the fight swung on him, and the coverage on him from Hung and Xiaohu was very good.
Again, some would say 1-8 is not the best scoreline for your jungler, but 13 assists on a Vi is good. And if Vi was taking all the kills, we wouldn't be happy. The dives only worked because Guwon was going in and sacrificing himself, and he was making his KDA look worse for the team. I respect that. This dive was crazy. I was so shocked that this was actually happening. I was very worried that NIP were going to get caught under the tower with no minions, that it was going to end the game completely here, but some good fight back. I think notes for NIP, like early objective priority, not it, in my opinion. The grubs, not that important. The Herald, not that important. You lost it anyway. You can't flip in Pantheon's face. You didn't stack any dragons, which I think is really important with the Lucian Milio. And I think that answering something like this Pantheon, that is now gone, so fair enough, is an importance for future series. For Weibo, don't click Herald if your name is Elk. Don't do that. Be careful. But I think, yeah, some of these skirmishes, when you're not as strong as the enemy team is, you have to be very careful about taking them, because there were a few times that game, Gordo, where they were caught out. Specifically this one, Elk is away, and then he walks back up for no reason and decides to lose the fight.
This is what I mean when I say Weibo are the only ones with autonomy. Weibo have the power
That's true.
to turn these fights on a whim, right? It's if they play it normal, they can win. If Elk turns back around and checks out the Vi, who he knows hasn't ulted and whose ult he just avoided by creating that space in the first place, he might die. If he randomly jumps in the Rift Herald and exits the fight entirely, NIP have a window that they can abuse there, and, you know, to their credit, they will abuse it.
Actually, that Mikhail's from Hung in this fight was ridiculously good. Nice bubble as well under care. Really well played fight from Hung. Yeah, okay, MVP. Can you ever actually get an MVP on Nami?
No.
I don't think so. Elk did really well, but he did, like, he died then, which is not his fault as much, but the one before definitely was his fault. Maybe it is JJ. Maybe JJ MVP. I'm with that.
I think that feels like a decent shout. I think it'd be JJ or Xiaohu. I agree. I think Elk's mistakes are what kept NIP in this game. So I don't think it should be him. And I agree, I don't think that they would never give it to a Nami. They would never. Not unless there was some kind of sick 5-man bubble or something that won the game. And that didn't happen this game. So I'm going to be flabbergasted if they give this one to Hong.
You got me thinking, Gordo, like, what's the most kills a support has ever gotten in pro play? I know there's I'll look it up in the break maybe, but
gotta be like a Pike game, right? Gotta be some
okay, that's true. What about an Enchanter? Like, has an Enchanter ever gotten like a quadra kill before? That would be crazy.
Does Senna count?
Oh, true. That's a good question. I mean, the semantics,
I bet like Bard has to, and there we go. Shishi. You get a
really oddly satisfying player of the game here. 2-2% on the DT here, and then 2-2-2-9 on gold diff at the end. That's nice.
3 twos in a row.
That's pretty nice.
It's pretty good.
I mean, technically, if you count them, it's 5 twos in a row, because the 22 is next to the gold at end.
Is that not what I said?
I thought you said 3. Maybe I can't hear.
It's possible that I did. I can't be trusted. But to remember what I said about 10 seconds ago, there's a lot of words in a game of League of Legends. But very, very nice there. And hey, all the votes for Shishe and Xiaohu. We certainly we got a little bit of something right there. But really well played game number 1 from Shishe. I think still looking on form, still playing up to the level that we expect from him here. And yeah, I mean, Vi Ahri, maybe not the tech that it once was in our current era of Pantheon dominance, and that Nocturne's still going to be up and available, and perhaps mandating a ban going forward.
Yeah, it would be good to see teams, adapt to this again. But Fearless, I saw someone in chat right before Fearless was the best thing added to the game. I agree, chatter. We don't get to see any of those again. Full new bands, full new picks. Well, actually, maybe not new bands. Maybe the same bands. New picks. That's exciting.
Yep. I'm fully fearless pilled. I'm right on board with you. If you want to see more Fearless and more LPL in English, consider becoming a Coffee member. Coffee is the best way to support the LPL English project since the vast majority of your contributions go directly to the show. Some of it goes into upgrading the broadcast, but most of it goes towards paying on-air talent and content creators. Subscribe to the Coffee Enchant to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews once those internationals start rolling around. So check it on out. If you're not already contributing, see if it's for you. If you are already contributing, thank you very much, and we will see everybody after a short break for game number 2. Welcome back, everybody, to the LPL here on LPL English, where Weibo Gaming were able to take game number 1 after some Rift Herald shenanigans, some Elka-based shenanigans. It still comes down to Weibo at the end of the day. NIP putting up a good fight, though, and hoping that they could take that fight just a little bit further in the upcoming game number 2.
Yeah, I think that there were good showings from NIP. The same as I feel against, NIP's game against Top East. Not Top East, what's IG?
There you
go. Got there in the end. I stumbled over that sentence.
There's a team that they played.
Nicely. But I think that it starts with this objective priority shift. You put yourself in a really bad situation when you have a bot lane that can push and you don't get the first 2 dragons.
It looks like we are ready to get into draft here. Should be able to have that one on up, and there is pretty similar bans across the board. I do have to note that Hoya's Varus is up. It's alive. Something that we could see. Probably not first pick.
No. But now Gordo Weibo can take it away from him. What have they done?
They sure can. I mean, listen, Elk's Varus is decent. Zika's Varus, I don't know if it exists.
Yeah, so this is what actually they should do, is they should take the Seraphine away from the Xin Zhao, because Ashe Seraphine Xin Zhao is a really scary combo. With the Lulu banned, Karma's banned, no Nami, no Milio, what do you actually play into this bot lane?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah,
Zeri Yumi?
The Karma
I'm a
being
fan.
banned makes it real tough. I mean, you can play Ezreal something else, I suppose. You can play, like, Ezreal Rakan or something, and at least try to stay at your distance. But yeah, it's definitely tough. The other thing you can do is you can just play like Mel mid, and then it's a big threat later on. Oh, or you can just lock in Nautilus and say we're gonna try to fight you.
This has pretty much been the only support that isn't a mage or an enchanter that's getting picked or prioritized in the draft at all. And not only that, but some Jinx action potentially on the corner. This is complete psychotic if they go Draven Nautilus.
My guess would be Misfortune.
No, don't do it, no!
Oh, no. See, he has not gone above 40% win rate since we last cast together, has he, Jibetto?
No, I don't think so, but that is lore accurate. Maybe he needs a 44% win rate to truly take off.
Well, but he's not getting there. He's got to start winning some games. He's got to get those numbers up because he's way below 44% win rate right now. I don't know. No win rate is low enough for people to stop picking the Jhin, I suppose. Is Zika going to go for the Renekton here? So we will have mismatched jungle and top lane.
I'm not a fan. I think that this draft from Weibo is great. I mean, you've got jungle choices, right? You've got like a Wukong. You've got things like the Trundle that haven't been... I know Alk is a massive fan of the Trundle. We've been talking about it on cast a couple of times. It's really good into Xin Zhao, pretty good into Nautilus as well. Could be an option, but you just ban tops here, right? You ban the Gnar, maybe ban the Jace if you're worried about that. Could be other things like an Ornn. I think Yorick is okay for Renekton, so I don't think you have to ban that, although that has been rising in priority a lot. But for NIP, like, you have to salvage this. You need something strong in mid. You need something strong in top because the Xin Zhao is great, but you've lost the Enchanter Xin Zhao style that people have been really happy with recently, been really playing a lot. You've got Nautilus into the Ashe Seraphine, which is really hard but can find all-ins. And you've got Jhin with it. And now Mel's banned, like you mentioned before, so you don't even have that really nice reflect potential onto the Ashe Seraphine. So I think you're running out of options here that are really strong into top lane, into this bot lane.
Yeah, the Mel ban does come on through, by the way, so that's no longer going to be an option for Care. And I did check Jhin top leagues globally for 2026, 39.2% win rate right now. So we will see if Awesome can do his part to try to get those numbers up, because those are not very good numbers. But now a chance to select either a jungler to play against the Xin Zhao or a blind mid laner. I suggest it is the former. No way this is an Olaf jungle angle, no? Is it an Olaf jungle angle for
I guess
JJ?
it is. Okay, well, unless he last stops. Okay, so good 1v1 into Zinzao. I can't be knocked away, can't be knocked up, but it's great into the Nautilus and the Jhin. He just presses R and runs at you.
Hoya
No,
Varus!
he's right.
Hoya Varus,
Oh,
it's here!
Bob.
It's time!
No, this is
Telecaster,
actually,
help
this is
me.
Jhin top. Guys, this is Jhin top, Varus bot lane, actually. I don't really... I'm not a fan. I mean, I know it's good, but like, this comp is... again, we are front to backing, we are CCing the first target, and we are killing them. The Azir is okay. It's great front to back damage. It can look for roads like we've seen many times before, but I think Weibo's comp has so many options. They have global pressure with the Ashe ult, with the Talia ult. They have really good 2v2 in mid and top with the jungle influencing it. They have a strong pushing bot lane. They have good dragon fights. They have good team fighting. They have good mid game with the Renekton Olaf Ashe. For NIP's draft, like, I feel like it's so one note. We are ceasing the first target. Varus needs to get a lead. We have to live through bot. If there's any situation where any of these lanes get behind, I think the game is instantly really hard to play.
Yeah, and also the CCing one target, that target obviously cannot be Olaf. So
yeah,
JJ making it even a little bit more difficult there. Definitely has that strong 1v1 into the Jhin, like you were just bringing up. I think it's an awesome Seraphine combo too. Like, it feels silly to call it a combo because Seraphine ult combos with champions that run forward, but Olaf is one of those, and Seraphine ult does combo with champions that run forward.
Well, I think NIP have a pretty hard time ahead of them. They need to lane really well. They need to find their fight potential, find their fight opportunities, their fight windows really effectively. I think it's going to come down to a lot of their execution. But for Weibo, their draft is really solid. They've shown really good team fighting in the last game. I think that this game is stacked against NIP.
Yeah, I'm not very fond of the draft either here. The Azir still powerful. Let's see what it can do.
I'll tell you what, Gordo, I feel like after first stand, I feel like there's more people in the crowds chanting in LPL games. I can't prove that, but it does just feel like it.
It could also be that we were just doing like group Nirvana games a lot in split number 1, Juvetto, but I do agree though. It's definitely, I feel like the Gyos are louder for sure. As Elk, Hong, Awesome, and Shuo are going to start the violence early, and Elk and Hong are going to walk out on top, as well as having the superior sustain. NIP off to a rough start in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I think the idea from NIP is just not too bad. You know, they need to find an all-in early, otherwise the lane's going to be really hard anyway, but then they don't find it. They take the negative HP trade, and Weibo still have the wave priority. So, I mean, at least Hoya can say, guys, it's okay. Click top with your camera. Look top, guys. But other than that, not starting too great. Talia pushing against Care. Bot lane CS is already looking really, really tough. But it's okay, guys. Varus top.
Varus top is the best hope that NIP have going for them here. It is a solid matchup. It is one that Hoya is very competent on. He was the one who really brought this pick into the forefront. He was the one picking it the most frequently. He's the one still drawing bans on it. And he's going to need to prove why here as part of, the big power for Group Ascent. But there goes the first blood for Elk. Shuo going to be able to flash in, make the trade. It's a solo kill. Awesome doesn't even get his name on it.
Yeah. Man, that is tough. I mean, it feels somewhat fine for Zhuo. He gets a kill, sure, but like, look at that gold lead already. 600 gold lead for Elk in 2.5 minutes. He denies the wave. He gets the solo kill. I think that Awesome needed to base with Zhuo. Zhuo based really early after taking the worst end of the trades, and then Awesome decided to stay, and then obviously Gets killed. I mean, good news. Elk has no flash. Olaf, cover, please. Zinzao, help me kill Ash. But other than that, I don't think it's another rough start for NIP.
From the deadly flourish, Elk gets handed a second kill. Weibo off to the races in the bottom lane.
Really well played. And JJ is aware he needs to cover, first of all, to make sure that this Ash with no flash doesn't get either dove or just ganked in general. But then realizes, hey, enemy jungler is not here. He's topside. So why don't we flank around? Really nice pathing and priority onto the Nautilus as well. Like you mentioned, no flash. So easy kill. Doesn't overextend for the kill. And Elk gets it as well. So we're still in the fighting HUD here. I hope we can get back to the gold, because Elk is getting close to like a 1k lead. It won't be too long before he's there.
What do the LPL showrunners know? What combat is about to take place? All right, we're back. As it does look like it's a 900 gold lead to the likes of Elk. That is, oof, that is rough.
Yeah, I mean, Ash not the greatest scaler, but Ash getting early items means that it's so much harder to fight against her. The slow, if she goes boots for the attack speed as well, like tons of options. And I appreciate NIP continuing to go for these attempts, but it's running you down.
It's kind of the only course of action you really have available to you. Like, Shuo, hex flashing from Bush to try to hit dredge lines. What else does this champion do in this lane? It's not really much else to speak of. And
we can speak of Hoya top, Varus top, guys. 500 gold lead. A Virtualize from the bot lane situation that now has reached 1,000 gold as Awesome takes another base. And look top.
Yeah, no, I mean, the NIP fans, look top. That's a fine strategy for you. Shuo, I guess you could look top too, might as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely
not
going to turn this bot lane situation around.
Well, not spotted by this ward. Okay, he will be now. So Guwon thought he maybe could look for a gank, but instead it'll be just the dragon. JJ going for the top crab. This will give the level 2 smite, and he'll level up to 6. So if he was fast enough, he could run down here with smite advantage and ult and take the dragon, but not going to. So with his newly forged level 6 and upgraded smite, and the roam from Xiaohu here, Varus top might not be a safe place to look anymore.
Maybe not. Interestingly, that's a tunneler on Hoya, so maybe this isn't the traditional AP Varus top. But enough about that. Azika flashing in, getting a combo off for Xiaohu. Hoya going to flash underneath the turret, though, and JJ takes 2 shots on the way in. Already feels like he doesn't want to take any more. Hoya survives the 1v3 turret dive.
He lives those. All right. +1 for an IP. Dive survived. He does have no flash, no exhaust. Hang on.
Getting on in here onto Hong. Guwon arrives to the scene to help out, picks himself up a kill, and provides a little bit of relief for Awesome and Shuo in the bottom lane.
I am fully on the roller coaster, Gordo. I'm not going to lie. Completely, like, we're going up, and then top dive fails. Hong gets caught by Hook with flash up. I'm plummeting back down, and I'm getting a bit dizzy.
Me as well, but Weibo, listen, we watched game number 1. They can take us back up. They can take us back up at any time.
They're definitely still driving. I will say, both of those decisions were made by Weibo.
Yes. And so far, that has been the story of this series. Hong coming on in with another decision. An attempted shuffle from Care short. Does not find its way onto Xiaohu, and Care's out of mana.
That was a decision. You are right. That was a decision. I wish he hadn't decided to do that, as it does go short. Would it have killed Xiaohu with flash? Probably not, but would have gotten his flash. That would have been nice. I will say, Hoya down the flash and exhaust, sorry. An option to look back top when this Olaf feels ready. But Grubs, again, started by Guwon, already has the first dragon, so NIP's macro much better on the objective front. On the build, though, this is definitely the experimental hex plate. It could go... Oh, hang on.
Oh, Xiaohu returning to the scene of the crime, trying to make the combo happen, seeing if they can finish the job this time. Hoya nowhere to go without that flash. Tries to return damage onto Zika.
Okay.
Will drop down, but Guan makes the trade. It is a 1-4-1, and that Xin Zhao gets himself another kill.
It's not too bad. I was really worried. There's a timeline in which Elk and the bot, Hung didn't die. Elk maintained his 1k lead. The dive in top worked, and NIP are down a lot of gold. But that hasn't really happened. NIP have been able to pull back off of the mistakes from Weibo, the unforced errors that Weibo have been making. So we're in a position where NIP have the objectives. We're returning this.
Back here, depth charge connects onto Elk. Awesome gets some opportunities to fire away. Does get rooted right back up though, and Elk spacing out the deadly flourish very nicely. Shuo and Awesome falling further and further behind in this Elk bar exchange. And once again, they find themselves on the back foot. They are so low now. They got to start thinking about reset, and that cost them both their combat summoners too.
Yeah, Hung was 2 minions away from level 6 in that fight, and he gets it at the end. If he was level 6 in that fight, or if he ticked over during the fight, both of NIP's bot lane were dead. Huya, can he sniff this out? The wave is pushing away from him. How long is JJ willing to sit here? No flash on this virus, no exhaust on this virus. He can sit at a massive range. Does lose the cannon. Probably will have to lose the rest of this wave too. We're going back to take a look at this. This is a really nice ult from Xiaohu. Catches virus off guard. I'm pretty sure the Q got cancelled there, but Guwon ends up, flash ER. Just misses the W there on Xiaohu. Maybe could have found a kill. Huya doesn't end up dying. JJ went back to clearing. But I will say, for NIP, the game state has stabilized a lot since the beginning of the game because we were not in a great, comfortable position. Jin has boots. Ashe hasn't gotten that first item just yet. If 40 seconds can go by, NIP can get this next strike before Ashe hits that, Kraken Slayer. NIP are in a really good spot.
NIP with some control in and around mid here. Hung trying to defend these birds as in goes Guan, but is he going to regret it? Encore comes on across him, and he's getting beaten down by the Olaf. Ragnarok keeps the fight alive, and that is going to be a kill going the way of Weibo.
I really don't quite understand what Guwon's looking for. Maybe if the hook had hit Seraphine and they had one-shotted the Seraphine, maybe the look on Hung was the idea there. But again, Dragon's up now. You have priority. You have positions around the Drake. You see where enemy jungler is. Support is there too, which means that Awesome is fine in the lane to just clear. So Elk is not going to be able to force a 1v1 kill or rotate over really quickly. And Guwon just goes really early. I also don't particularly understand why Weibo didn't do the Drake, but they didn't. And if NIP get the Drake, then my point is completely moot.
Well, we'll find out. They are going to start it on off. Poked with the wind becomes lightning by Guan. JJ coming on in does not have the Ragnarok, notably, so he's in a little bit of a worse spot here. Can be CC'd by this Nautilus, can be jumped by Guan. Xin Zhao can be one-shot with help from the curtain call, and Awesome gets himself back on the board.
All right. The roller coaster is still going. And I am pretty sure that we're going down now. But NIP, after all that, they end up getting the second Drake. They get a kill on the Jezer. This gold lead on Ashe is lowering and lowering. And it's Infernal Soul, and they have 2 Drakes.
Funz is still down. Funz is still down, but so is Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so Awesome will continue to walk this one out, will survive it, but is going to give up some alone time with this turret.
Does the damage from Enchanted Crystal Arrow kill? And Jin's on 200 health. He's basically in the bush.
We're going to find out. Well, definitely not if it doesn't hit. Oh, wait a second. It's going to hit on the recall, but Hung interrupted the recall. I don't think it would have killed anyway.
That would have been really cool, though. Imagine if it did.
I think it was timed for it. He fired that thing right at the fountain. I think that might have been the goal.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the idea was to go for the recall, but Hung says, if I can get the kill, the gold is mine. Ashe will be able to pick up a couple more waves, and the gold lead builds very quickly again, back up to 1.4k this time. That's the biggest lead we've seen in this game. But Virus Top is doing okay. Has the first item completed, has the movement speed boots, has that free teleport. And NIP have 2 Drakes. So it's time here for Jhin to... This is Stormrazor. A lot of discussion about the Jhin builds. What is actually the correct build for Jhin to go? Also, we'll start with the Stormrazor this game.
Might as well.
Nice hook try.
Worth a shot. Spider-Man's his way in through the mid lane here, and Care pushing in towards the bottom lane. Zika probably not really in dive range at this stage of the game. The experimental Hexblade completed for both JJ and Hoya this game. That will give him that little bit of extra power on the Olaf when trying to run down one of these squishy targets, and he has got plenty of options available to him.
All right, well, the game has slowed down a ton since the early skirmishing. The lanes are very stable across the board. I think that NIP in the side lanes are favored with Azir and with this Varus. The Varus is very pickable, so Hoya has to play a little bit scared in the top lane, and Guwon might be getting invaded here.
Yeah, there's a Chaser. Oh! Guwon tries to flash away, does not escape the arrow, and here come Weibo descending on top of him. Back in the lead are Weibo Gaming, and they're going to turn this into a Rift Herald before long if they want it.
Okay, well, Guwon's smiling in the play cam, so he knows that was a bit six-pack. Flashes into the arrow instead of over the wall or to the side, but still, it's okay. Like you mentioned, might be a Herald take in 10 seconds. Just some camps lost. Flash and ult down for Guwon. It's okay. Care's getting some time alone in the side lane, able to pick up probably this full tier 1 tower, so that'll be first brick as well. Very nice. Cross map at least from NIP. That was going to happen regardless, but well played from NIP, at least to get that. Guwon, be careful with your flashes. Enemies are around.
Can't sleep here. There are enemies nearby. JJ going to begin that Rift Herald. Care did pick up first circle to the bottom side, so Care gets paid off of this extended play. Pretty much equalizes the gold lead that was created
67%.
off that pick on Guwon. But they will indeed have, I'm not going to acknowledge that, indeed they will get the Rift Herald. It will give them the ability to be able to take down this mid turret come next objective. It is about a minute to go until Infernal Drake number 1, and Weibo do have to start thinking about denying these Drakes from NIP.
Yep. First items coming through from everybody now, so just waiting on Zhuo's. I assume... Actually, is this Bandle Pipes? I think it might be Bandle Pipes. Let's have a look. He's basing here. It would make most sense to me. I don't think anything else is the option, although I'm not familiar. Oh, it's Chem? Oh, okay. I'm not too familiar with the Bandle Pipes build path, but I guess this makes sense. It's a little more selfish, does allow for some survivability, sorry. But first items across the board, like I was mentioning, are finished. Is Awesome going second item collector, Stormrazor collector? Is this the build, or is it going to be something else? Is it like a Serpent's Fang second? I don't know if I like either of those options, to be honest, Gordo.
I really hope it's not Serpent's Fang. I think Collector is probably the right read, but we will have to wait and see. This next dragon spawning up here, and first to the scene are Weibo. They have gotten the memo that they need to be protecting. Interestingly enough, Xiaohu still hasn't finished his quest. He's the only one on the map that hasn't done so, so no enhanced boots for him quite yet. Oh,
Alright,
wait,
nice little ult here from Huya.
Like Chains of Corruption. Zika loses a lot. And now nowhere near being able to TP into the fray, but Guwon is, of course, on that side of the map.
Guys.
Here's a flash encore on to Care, but he does manage to get away and stay alive. Zhuo taking the majority of the damage, but he'll survive as well thanks to the Protoplasm Harness. And NIP successfully get away. They get the top side turret. They force back Zika. And no start on the Dragon here because Weibo realized that they don't want to give up too much in mid.
Yeah, I guess Protoplasm Harness was the correct item. But I think that was really disrespectful from NIP. Guwon is top. Looking for a play onto Zika. And Care had flash for the encore. I think it went through the wall, so maybe he didn't see it. But still very lucky that no one of NIP died there. They do end up giving over the Drake, which is fine. You're waiting on some more items. You're waiting on some scaling to come through from this Varus, from this Azir. And it will be this very awkward build from Huya. It's the Experimental Hexblade. Nice dodge there on the Chains of Corruption. And then he's going Dusk and Dawn second. So very uncomfortable build, I guess. Like later on, this will feel really nice, but And the Dusk and Dawn build path is pretty abysmal. So at least until that happens, it's going to be a little lacking.
I don't
Yeah.
like this. I don't like these kinds of builds, dude. This always upsets me. I want people to build items for one class of champion. I feel like every time we start mixing and matching like this, it's gonna make everybody upset.
It is a class. It's the Varus class. He is in a class of his own.
Oh boy. Yeah, I suppose he is. Hoya performing pretty well on what is quickly becoming a signature champion of his. He does have himself about
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
individual gold lead.
Like, do you want your signature champion to be Varus top? Is it like something that you're like happy with, or is it like begrudgingly I'm the Varus top guy?
I think he could. There's a world that exists where he is not a Varus top guy. I think that was fully in his control, so I think he has to embrace it, right? What else can you do?
Yeah, I feel like there is a world, though, in which his team is like, come on, Hoya, play the Varus top, you're really good at it. And he's like, guys...
There's no way that somebody not named Hoya, like, discovered this. Oh, wait, there's a fight breaking on out. It's going to be Hong getting one shot, but does get the encore up in time. It's on to Guwon, and the rest of the team going to be able to work through his health bar. Awesome. Getting dove on, too, by Zika. Zika gets pushed back by the Emperor's Divide, still manages to make it a trade, but it's a double kill to Awesome. And down goes another to the curtain call. Kare going to be the one who picks up that credit. Elk doing his best to be able to kite this one out, will stay alive, but NIP go up in the trade.
Hoya actually played that fight really well and has a really big gold lead. This tower will for sure go down. Good ult from Kare as well. Guwon bought some good time. Good team fighting from NIP. It only buys...
Kare looking for more, gets on the Elk. Kare cashes out a second kill.
Wow, I did not think Kare was in range to go for that. Elk has flash and barrier. What are you doing?
Oh,
anyway,
man.
Back to the fight. Nice hook from Zhuo to start this engage. Also, Zhuo later on will hook the Azir wall to get himself out, to try and get himself out. Good tech here, but Guwon just buys time in the backline there. The rest of the fight is happening. Big overextend from Zika. Is this a Baron start? I'm completely distracted. The rest of this fight was really well played by the carries, but NIP are on Baron at 20 minutes.
Yeah, Baron taking lots of damage from NIP. Zika working his way up here. Here comes JJ on the flank. Can he flash in there for the steal? It's dropping too fast. Baron to NIP. But what about the fight afterwards? Zhuo been picked off by Xiaohu. And here comes JJ on the flank. Gets the undertow on across two. Looking to be able to chase further. Hoya getting slowed up. Zika not chasing onto him though. And NIP staying hand in hand using the buddy system. Look like they're going to be able to get away. Xiaohu looking to cut him off if he finds the opportunity, but the rest of the team not quite ready for him. Tries to shuffle it back, cannot find a target, and NIP are out of there.
That was, yes, we are so, it is so jovial. Well, how is this happening,
So
guys?
over.
A random T-fight in mid leads to a big gold swing in favor of NIP, and now they get the Baron a minute before their soul point spawns. NIP in such a great spot with the tier 1 still available. Oh boy, thank you LPL. That is an LPL gold grab if I've ever seen one. The tier 1 in top still being up, that outer turret, means that Zhuo sacrifices himself short, but the long chase is impossible because the tower is in the way. Xiaohu just picked up Rabadons. He's very strong. 2 items across the board for Weibo. Waiting on a second item from Zhuo, but still 2 items across the board in the most part for NIP. But crucially, this Baron is going to be up the entire time until this dragon is available. And it's Infernal Soul with an Azir. It is Serpent's Fang's second, by the way, from Awesome. Just want to note that.
Yeah, absolutely here. Oh, man. I mean, next dragon coming on up here in about 15 seconds. And Weibo need to piece themselves together. A favorable team fight again. Hong getting caught up so early in that fight cost them quite a bit. See if they can execute a higher level this time around. Zhuo looking around on the flank, not going to be able to find his target. Xiaohu getting called up from the bottom and denying NIP soul point. Still the primary objective. Weaver's Wall does not get done what they hoped for. It does not cut off any members.
Yeah, that's kind of... it's just gone, actually. What? They toggled vision for a moment. Zika's behind. I don't know if NIP can get out here.
He's going for it, flashing in on Awesome, going to be able to get that cleanse out first and foremost. Encore comes through, only finds its way onto Guan, but Guan will drop. Zika out of health, forced to retreat back away from the fight, but it's still a 5 versus 4, and there's no clear escape route yet available for NIP. They fall back into the bot lane outer turret, and it will be enough to get them the recall, but mid left completely undefended.
Yeah, another outer turret saves NIP after an objective secure. Guan gets completely one-shot before he can get his ult off. Just doesn't have flash, so got caught by the Encore there. And CC chain into death. But that's sole point for NIP. Really well played. Xiaohu, something that has been a topic of conversation about this player is his Talia walls are not good. And another one that is not good. Completely wasted before the fight. So you can see Zika is trying to buy time. It's actually the Ashe ult, sorry, that gets caught first. Then the Encore, then the knock-up. Insta-killed here. Really well played onto Guan. Really nice ult there from Elk. I was watching Zika on the top side. I didn't see the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but really well played from Weibo to take down Guan. But NIP a little bit saved by another outer turret.
Chiveto, I gotta tell you, it was Serpent's Fang, Jin, by the way. It is the Serpent's Fang. We are here to reduce Seraphine's shielding.
Yes. We hate shielding.
Oh, boy. All right, well.
All my homies hate shielding, in fact. Everyone buys Serpent's Fang. Awesome did it in the LPL. You tell your ranked teammates, you know this guy Awesome? He's the GOAT. He makes Jin look remotely somewhat playable. And he builds Stormrazor, Serpent's Fang into either LDR.
He goes down 1,700 gold. Don't forget that part.
But he's got 3 kills.
He does.
I mean, his, CS, gold. He's got kills, all right? His CS score is... But his CC score now, that might be decent.
It could be good. It could be at least acceptable. Siege coming in on this bottom lane outer turret. Weibo looking to claim a little bit of standing gold, and does look like they should be able to without issue. Care cannot step up and defend this with his current resources. So that will fall. Meanwhile, Hoya unanswered in the top side, shoving the wave into the inner. Baron up in about 90 seconds. That's going to be the next objective to battle over. But some calm on the Rift in the meantime, as this one looking to be another close game.
Are Weibo still in the driver's seat? Are they still piloting? That Xiaohu ult was a choice that Weibo made.
It was.
But I feel like NIP are getting some wiggle room. They're kind of... they're making plays.
This is NIP making a decision for sure. There's going to be curtain call flashing from Care. Gets Elk in there, and the first kill of the fight will be Elk before he gets anything done. JJ forced to flash defensively, and this is right before the Baron spawns. NIP, they make a decision, and they make it a great one.
Really nice curtain call from Awesome just to start with the slows. The TP in from Care finds the shuffle, and the Encore just completely misses. NIP playing these team fights super well. Really coordinated, very snappy. Like we were saying, NIP making decisions of their own. I think they tried to do it in game 1. They went into position 2. Now, Weibo, do you walk in? Do you face check? With this triple threat comp from NIP, the Baron melts.
JJ does not have Ragnarok. He cannot get in here for the life of him with Shuo up in his face. They are going to try to look to claim a free Shuo for their efforts. Enchanted Crystal Arrow connects, going to be holding Hoya still for a very long time, and Zika going to look to capitalize. The shuffle back in will be a second kill to Weibo. 2 kills for the Baron is the exchange.
Yep, good ult there from Elk. You can see that Hoya had flash available. He was really trying to get to the wall, but then CC chain from Weibo, well executed. But Baron, again, 30 seconds before this dragon. I assume... I'll have to wait and see, because I don't want to over-assume here. He does have it. So Hoya does have the TP, the free TP. Literally perfect. He's going to respawn. I don't think that Weibo can set up good enough positions around this objective in the time they have against Baron without sacrificing something else. So, whether it's wards, whether it's bot push. Look at the bot wave right now. Not in a great spot at all. Here comes a TP from Zika. This will be on vision. NIP will see this. They'll see the ball fly across the map, so they know that the Crocodile is behind them. The Darkin is about to join them, I assume, in mid lane as well. Oh, the Dragon's just gone, actually. So NIP give it, instead looking for a bit more gold.
Yeah, they're just going to choose to sacrifice the mid-inner to make sure that they get this Dragon, that they can deny the soul. What about the inhibitor turret, though? Can they stop that one? Here comes Xiaohu throwing down the wall.
About this wall.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes on across, lands onto Awesome. Awesome will cleanse it away as soon as it arrives. Will claim a summoner spell for that one, and Zhuo a little bit cut off. Zika going to find him. Deadly Flourish to try to peel off their Nautilus a little bit. Kair gets snagged by Xiaohu, and in comes the follow-up CC. Ragnarok is thrown down. Hung flashes for the encore, but times it wrong, and Kair does not get hit. Now Xiaohu gonna fall down in the follow-up fight. Hung going to join him. Curtain Call opened up to chase down the remaining stragglers, and Weibo misexecute and don't get a single kill.
Yeah, a massive mistake from Hung there. Well, small in execution, but massive in terms of the impact of this game. You needed to be able to one-shot Kair there. The Zhonya's broken, the arm guard broken, the R-flash mistimed, and Kair gets away. Not a single member of NIP dies after that, and now the mid-inhibitor is broken. NIP, with the remaining 40 seconds of this Baron, could choose to go for some more plates, maybe this tier 2 tower, but instead, they'll just base. Now, crucially, Gordo, if you look at the objective timers, the Baron and the Dragon are synced up completely, but we'll take a look back here. Zhuo finds Zika, and Xiaohu really nice. This is blind, by the way, onto Kair here, but Hung, eyes on this Seraphino, times it just slightly. He's able to dash through, and that's kind of it. If Kair had died there, maybe you could do something, but even still, I don't think that the fight is that great.
Yeah. Immediate Ragnarok on in. Shea has to basically waste that ability, immediately backing away from the threat of Guan, and Hoya doesn't have the power to be able to run them down, and as you said, not the best fight in the world. Got a 2K gold swing there. NIP find themselves back in the lead gold-wise. And Weibo struggling in this game number 2 to pull the game back after they gave it away the first time. JJ seeing Zhuo on the face check. Zhuo going to start the fight off. They're going to pop the Ragnarok, look for the fight. Kair gets snagged by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, but the follow-up is not there. Zika can't close the gap in time. Curtain Call opened up to try to slow up the stragglers and see if they can find anything. Hung gets snagged by the 4th shot, nearly killed by it, but does manage to escape.
This Jhin doesn't even have Infinity Edge yet, so when that happens, that is a kill. Okay, no purple shield for Xiaohu. But these Ash arrows have actually been finding a ton of value. The first one where Awesome has to body block it and cleanse it because no one else can stand to body block it. There's no Mikhails, there's no spell shield, no one can actually for sure stand there and take the full, Ash stun duration. And then this one stuns Kair. Weibo are not able to get there in time, but still a really nice arrow that stops the engage from NIP. Gotta be a bit scared, though, of that curtain call damage. So here we are, Gordo. 1:30 on both objectives. It's soul for NIP. They could give it for the Baron, but then Weibo are looking at the back of a 4 Infernal Drake Infernal Soul on the next Dragon. You need to end the game on that Baron, or then you're risking that terrifying position. So what is NIP's game plan? They have the priority with this mid inhibitor down. The super minions are pushing in. Ash Arrow hits Hoya. Oh, nice Zhonya's.
Crystal Arrow not going to be quite able to land thanks to a really well-placed stasis, and follow-up CC from Hong can't land either. These carries able to escape some well-placed Enchanted Crystal Arrows from Elk, either due to timing, positioning, or the help of their teammates, or that critical summoner cleanse, whatever it ends up being. NIP stay alive once again and are able to retreat back away after their push.
Alright, so NIP are basing now. Where they come out on the map is going to tell us a lot about where they want to play. What objective do they value more? The answer should realistically be Infernal Soul. I don't know if Weibo against this comp can end with the Baron. That's the trade. Infernal Soul, long-term power, shorter, it's weaker, up against the short-term power of the Baron. Weibo might have to give the Soul here just to get the Baron and maybe play for an end, but, play for an Elder even after that. NIP have complete control. 10 seconds until both objectives have spawned. NIP, maybe just a little bit of vision around the Baron, maybe a Baron threaten, or this is really smart from NIP. They're doing both.
Yeah, Care going to start up that Dragon on the bottom side. Weibo starting off the Baron. NIP are in position to be able to contest, and Care going to pull off the Dragon. Decides that this is a Baron fight. They're not going to make this exchange. They don't want the trade. Weaver's Wall comes out across to split off the team, but they are not doing the Baron nearly fast enough. Care going to get snagged by Zika, but the follow-up damage from Xiao, who can't connect. Guan flashing onto Hung. Will be able to finish off that first kill. Elk is knocked up. Elk is focused down. Elk drops, and it's a 2-for-0 so far already for NIP. Curtain call opened up, going to push out Xiao Hu on the opposite side. Zika looking for Hoya, but Hoya advancing forward. He's got one target in his eyes, and his name is Xiao Hu. It's a triple to Guan. Hoya finishes off the mid laner. Ace to NIP, and game number 2 going their way as well.
All right, it's not the cleanest way mechanically to end this game, Gordo, but they get it done. They don't want to play Macro anymore. We are fighting, and NIP take the game. Game 3. Holy. I knew this was going to be inhibitor spawn. It's fine. It's fine. Surely it's fine. Is there enough time? We've got respawns coming through. 10 seconds on Elk. I think it's done. Okay.
It is.
A little bit of stress, but it's fine.
Kong cannot make the hero play, and game number 2 will go to NIP. We're going to game number 3 to kick off the night, Gebetto. And Weibo continue to show the inconsistency that we've been talking about all night. What a good performance from NIP, though, to be able to lock that game down. They get their opportunity back in despite an abysmal start in the bottom lane, and they do not let it go.
Hey, Jin gonna win. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome gets the win on the
That might get you
Jin.
about 40%.
I'm not going to do math on cast like that, but I'll take your word for it. Yeah, really good game from NIP. The Dragon sacking, a massive change up from how they played in game 1. They prioritized the Dragon. They played really well around this, like the skirmishes. And I was concerned with this comp. I really didn't. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I think they played super well. Hoya being left alone for that much of the game is a little bit criminal. They tried one dive on him, it didn't work, and he was allowed to just free farm the rest of the game. Got to a great position, never really was in a position to get dove, and then NIP just fishing for hooks, playing for these Chains of Corruption, playing for the Deadly Flourish. Really well played team fight wise by NIP.
Yeah, it felt like not really able to capitalize on having a significantly ahead Olaf, right? Like JJ never got to really have an Olaf fantasy team fight where he just gets to sprint forward, encore at his back, and run through the enemy team, take down a carry, maybe a carry and a half before they're able to work through his health bar. Feels like into the Jhin especially, that should be something that's very much in the cards for you, but whether it be their Seraphine getting picked off at the start of the fight or just the positioning not quite working out the way they wanted to with the start-off picks, never really played out that way.
And we're kind of joking around about this whole, driving thing, but it did really feel like Weibo was in control of game 1. The mistakes that they made, like you were saying, they were unforced errors. Weibo made the choices. They made the mistakes. NIP, for the first time in this series, really feels as though they took the upper hand in terms of the tempo vibes. It felt like they were driving for the second half of that game, and they didn't really let go of the pedal there once they put their foot down. Really well played by NIP. MVP is a tough call, though. I think Hoya played really well. I think Care played really well. I think Guwon played really well. I think Shuo played really well. I mean, maybe you could just give an MVP to Awesome for getting a win on a Jhin. It's a tough call.
It is a tough call. I mean, I think you gotta give it to Hoya, right? Like, I think the fact that Hoya was able to get so ahead, the fact that the Renekton was a basic non-factor, lots of credit in him in my book. And
yeah,
my Varus GOAT does it again, man. This guy, we talked about it before, we're talking about it again. He's been drawing Varus bans. No team in the LPL gets Varus banned against them as frequently as NIP does. And this damage chart is
what a gold graph. I think there's an argument to be made for Care. A lot of the fights really well played from him. You can see a lot of the time Azir players will fish too aggressively for that shuffle, for that road, and end up just kind of running the team fight down, dying. I think that Care played really well, did good damage, but I'm with you. I think that the Varus looked great. Not the prettiest KDA, other than if your name is Care this game, but doesn't particularly matter. Huya played really well. A lot of the fights dictated by the Chains of Corruption, by the damage the Varus can output. The build was very interesting. I didn't actually check until just then what it really ended up being, and it was Experimental Hexplate, Dusk and Dawn, Zhonya's QSS. That is a surviving Varus. That's a very hard to kill Varus.
It is, and he was hard to kill. They made some attempts in certain fights, but you'll see that never ends up working out for him, and able to continue to output damage in basically all situations.
Chains of Corruption here to zone away while they deal with the Croc. Really well played team fight. We didn't get to talk about this one a ton because Baron was started immediately after this team fight was done. Infernal Soul, not even taken during this game. I think NIP's willingness to, we are stronger, guys. Let's fight. Weibo aren't allowed to fight here. If they go Baron, we'll just fight them on it. That kind of decision-making, that fast snapping decision-making is what wins you games like this. This is another situation where NIP fully in the driver's seat. We're TPing on top of them, actively looking with these Chains of Corruptions, with the curtain call, really well played.
Yeah.
This one, this hurt.
And when you have fights starting off with the Varus sprinting at your Olaf and him being forced to Ragnarok defensively to try to get out of there, like, these are just not... This is not how you really drew up this team composition to function, and it's really where you end up not being able to get much done. Instead, they're hunting for these picks, and eventually there's just so many tools available to be able to get on away. The missed Encore there, of course, a big factor as well, but you talked about the QSS on the Varus, talked about the Cleanse being available on the Jhin, the Stasis is on the Azir. There were lots of ways to be able to deal with these Enchanted Crystal Arrows and stop getting picked, and when they couldn't make these picks happen, when they got stalled out, like you see Care doing on the bottom here, the fights just went poorly. I
could definitely see a Care. That was I didn't see that part of the fight. I was looking at the top side. That was so well played. Zhonya's, okay, ignore that part. Don't look at that. He gets stunned by the Croc. Zhonya's is the, knock up, the shove from Talia, and then ults Renekton back over the wall to buy so much time. So two members of Weibo are looking at Care, and then he still lives through it. NIP obviously happy. I mean, this is the team that a lot of people would have said on paper is not winning a match. Maybe against WE, but they're not beating any other Group Ascend teams and have put up a good fight against IG and are putting up a really good fight against Weibo right now.
Yeah, at very least more individual game wins than one would have expected for them to have through 3 matches. And a chance to go up to 2-1 here if they are able to take down Weibo. Weibo, they got their first win of the split in game number 1, but NIP are not going to give it to them that easily. And with how close games 1 and 2 have been, I think we're in for a banger game number 3 here before long. Does look like it is going to be Care walking away with the MVP for game number 2.
Yeah, I think some of the impact in the team fights was, it can be unfelt. Oftentimes you see, mid laners getting MVP votes when maybe they shouldn't. Their team completely set up for them, they just clicked their buttons. I don't think this is one of those cases. Again, I think an argument could be made for Huya. I'm with you on that, but Care ends up winning it here. First MVP for him this split so far, so really great job from NIP. They need to stay focused though. There's one more game for, for us, for them. We get to watch and have a lot of fun there, but that was a creative draft and approach. A lot of the Enchanter bot lanes are gone though.
Yeah, going to be some interesting bot lane matchups here, and what has been a very interesting bot lane matchup throughout the entire night. So stay tuned. We're going to find out after a quick break as we get into game number 3, NIP taking on WBG for all the marbles. LPL English, where we're going to game number 3 for our first series of the night. NIP able to pull off the win in game number 2. Once that lead gets back into their hands, they hold on to it. And Weibo looking a little disheveled, looking a little out of sorts here on the night. Even in that game number 1, we saw the mistakes, and in game number 2, they get thoroughly punished for them.
Yeah, and I mean, Weibo, if they want to win this series, some of these mistakes need to be tightened up pretty quickly. And I mean, you don't have a lot of time between these games to do something like that. NIP, like we were talking about before the break, finally in the driver's seat in this game, in this series, sorry. And it feels like when they're making decisions like this, when they're the ones setting the pace, that they do it in a way doesn't leave the other team, in this case Weibo, with a lot of room to breathe.
No, it definitely does not. So we're going to need to see Weibo, they've been getting leads through the bottom lane, right? It's happened consistently, but they need to be able to maintain those, and it's got to not be, they got to not find themselves in positions where individuals are getting picked on off, whether it was Elk a couple of times in that game in number 1, and then it was pretty frequently Hong in game number 2. They're just not able to piece together the team fights that their comp are designed to be able to do, and ends up with them not having any ability to really determine their own destiny. They're just hoping for mistakes, they're hoping for picks, and those picks do not come through.
Yeah, and you'll need a little bit more than hope, unfortunately, to win this series. I mean, Hope's not even in this game. You know, he beat you.
It's true. He did.
Good pun. I'm good.
I'm
on them. That's my second one. The second one this cast. See if how many more I can get in. But
we'll see.
Yeah, I want to shift the conversation to draft for this next game. I mean, game 3 of Fearless, Rumble's out. That's a big one. Some of the junglers are out. You know, Pantheon, Xin Zhao. These like already high priority champions being out. Like I guess the big, I'll say 4 in my mind are like Ryze is out as well. Yeah. So Orianna's still up. Karma's still up, Lulu's still up, Nocturne's still up. I think that if you're in first pick scenarios here, so Weibo lost, they can take first pick. Your goal should be trying to force one of those 4 picks, because as red side, you can't ban all of them. So Weibo here opt completely for something. They're banning away none of those 4. NIP have to ban some of them. So Weibo are in a position here where they say now, well, we can ban away the Nocturne, and NIP can ban away the, pardon me, ban away the Lulu, and then you get none of them, or Weibo can ban nothing. If that case happens, NIP will most likely ban something else, and then we'll get a trade.
Yeah. So, I mean, if Karma, Lulu are the picks left up, then I expect we are about to get a Yunara, Lulu versus Karma, Ezreal game.
Karma's banned, Nocturne's the other one.
Karma's banned, Nocturne's the other one. So never mind. We're going to get a Yunara Lulu versus some kind of Nocturne Nico comp.
Yeah, I could see that definitely. The Nico is something that has fallen off a lot in terms of early rotation pick, but still very strong and like you mentioned, very good with that combo. You could go Nocturne Aurora as well, something that teams have been very prioritizing. They're actually banning the Nocturne. So this is just giving Lulu over for free. They were too scared of the Nocturne themselves, so that means they have something that they're happy to play in jungle and against this Lulu in the bot lane.
Don't pick something not named Lulu, Hong. Come on. Put the Lulu in the bag, brother. Oh, it's Jarvan.
Oh, the Jarvan.
Oh, the Jarvan has been banned for most of the series, but it's time. Awesome, Zhuo. You guys have been struggling in the bot lane all series long. May I present to you Yunara Lulu. Take it in stride. You don't have to pick the Yunara right now. You can just take the Lulu. Dear God, please take the Lulu.
Nah, first pick. I think that this is just going to get matched by a good Lulu. I think it's just going to get matched by a Yorick, though. Or a Jace. Jace is banned. Can't be Jace. Should be Yorick. Yorick or Kennen. Kennen's been the other thing that some people have been going. If Weibo are really confident, they could take the Inara, but I don't know what you're playing with it, like you were mentioning. I could see an Aphelios and a Thresh, but might just be Yunara Nico, when you're talking about the Nico before, And then NIP would have to go something, because the concern now for NIP is, if you go Felios, if you go Jinx, you are stuck in the cage. The good thing with Yunara is that Yunara Lulu into Jarvan, Yunara does not care about the Jarvan cage at all. But for NIP, what are you picking? Like, it can't be Kog'Maw, can't be Jinx, can't be Aphelios. I mean, like, it can be, but you're playing it into the Jarvan. That's really tough.
Yeah,
Kai'Sa Lulu.
Kai'Sa Lulu's not real.
Oh!
Tristana! All right, that's a pick we don't get to see much of these days, but you know what? It is a carry. It does work with Lulu, and it can get out of Cataclysm.
I mean, awesome. The way that he's been playing in this series, especially on those aggressive picks like the Lucian, I feel like we are, again, 1 foot off the edge, dangling down 1 foot on the edge, because he's going to dash in, he's going to jump in one time, Lulu's going to buff him, Wild Growth comes through, knocks up Elk, and gets a triple kill, and then he's going to jump into Jarvan cage for some reason and die, and there's going to be, I feel like we're going to go back and forth a lot with this Tristana pick, but it's really unique. I like the answer. Fixes a lot of the issues I was talking about with some of the other picks, but now we are banning mid laners, so banning away some, I don't know if okay, the Yone ban makes no sense to me. We have Tristana. Why would they pick Yone with double AD solo laners, or laners already?
It does a little magic damage, but no, I agree. It would not make sense to me. It would not be something that I expect to witness in today's match. I do want to give props to NIP here, though, on the kind of innovation they're trying to bring to the bot lane here, right? They showed us the Lucian Melio as their kind of counter to the Corki lanes yesterday. They brought it back today. Now they're bringing out the Tristana as a counter to Weibo, trying to split up the Yunara Lulu matchup. I like that they're really, embracing that Awesome and Zhuo are where they need to try to win here. They're playing towards their captain down in that bottom lane. He also showed us the Shen yesterday. Add that to the list as another Jhin combo that they showed us. All this stuff. It's awesome to see Guan looking at the Mundo. It's going to leave them a little engage hungry.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Mundo, Weibo have a tough time getting the shield off, like the CC immune shield. That's fine, but then you're stuck in cage. I don't know if I necessarily love the Mundo here.
You know what goes well with the cage? Second cage.
That is true. 2 cages would be good.
2 cages?
The Vayne would be good into the Mundo, but playing for the lane's a little bit better. The double cage, I was talking about the Yorick a little bit earlier. So what do we go in mid here, though? I think something that has CC to help get this shield off would be really nice. Victor, not really. I mean, you could go Hui, you could go Mel, Annie. There we go. Good CC to get off the Mundo shield. Now for NIP, what are you matching in mid? I think Galio is maybe a best bet.
Yeah, I mean, Galio would equalize there. I think this Tristana's positioned for a really good game here. Like, who's locking down this Tristana? I guess ideally it's going to be the Annie, but especially in these later game situations, you should have the opportunity to be able to space out against the Tibbers range, and presumably there's going to be a cleanse here for Awesome. So I like what they've got for themselves here. Looking at the Twisted Fate, just trying to give themselves a little bit more power to get down in that bottom lane in the early and mid game and protect this Tristana. I like what they've put together for themselves here, and this Mundo going to be difficult to kill.
Yeah. I think the TF fills a very similar role, Gordo, to what I was talking about with the Galio. Global ult, CC, decent matchup into a ton of the picks on Weibo. So the only concern is the double cage for me, the immobility of the TF into this comp. But both comps function very similarly. We are team fighting for our AD carry. We are playing for our AD carry. NIP, we have, frontline, we have a stun card, we have the Lulu, and then on Weibo side, we have Cage, we have Tibbers, or just stun in general, we have Nico to allow Elk to pop off. I think the lanes are going to matter a ton. Top lane is going to matter. The bot lane 2v2 is really important. How can the junglers impact the bot lane? How can the mid laners impact the bot lane? The game is about bot lane. Put the camera bot, and let's see which AD carry and team is better at playing around their AD carry.
Yeah, and it's been so far tonight, Elk and Hung have been able to win out in the laning phases. They've been able to build up those advantages. They've ticked level 2 first and have immediately chunked the other side to half both games so far. And they're going to be hoping to do that again here because the tools to lock down this Tristana are limited. I think NIP are in a really, really good spot if they can get this Tristana to 3 items and still be competitive in the game in the meantime, right? If they're way too far behind, it might not matter anymore, but if they're a relative parity state, how do you deal with this Tristana as this Weibo comp?
Spellbook on the TF. So some rotation potential with the ult, with TP, and the ability to go some other summoner spells to even further help your Tristana or hamper the enemy team. I think a lot of the onus of stopping this Tristana, though, Gordo, is on Xiaohu, on this Annie. I think if he's wasting his stun, Awesome can kind of do whatever he wants. If this Annie is able to find crucial stun timers on Awesome when he goes in, when he's looking for, jump resets, when he's looking to detonate his bomb, I think that you can find some really nice counterplay with that.
Awesome does not have cleanse. That's
you were saying it should be a cleanse game, and I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not the bot lane expert, but I feel like if you have cleanse and Mikhail's, and this game goes to 3 items, you will never be locked down by Weibo, and you can't really lose. But perhaps I'm wrong in that analysis. Or perhaps they feel it is the Mikhail's will be enough, and that they just need to survive the laning phase, and Barrier will help you do that.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, there is realistically later on, unless Hung is super creative in the way that he approaches these fights, -1 cannon, unlucky.
Oof.
There's really only one true stun, and that's Annie's one. That's like true CC, sorry, and that's Annie's stun. That is going to guarantee hit Awesome. The Tangle Barbs can miss, the Pop Blossom can miss, so Tristana can get out of those. That will happen, but, Tristana can jump out of that. She is going to do that.
And aggressive here. There is a very strong
Whoa,
power
indeed?
spike. You're right at the start of the game, and Awesome will seize it by the horns. 2v2 kill, Awesome and Shuo.
What are we watching? Okay, first of all, Elk has flash. Second of all, there is no way Awesome is allowed to jump at tower line against Yunara Nico and get a kill level 3 like that. So much damage, the lethal tempo is stacked up. Wow, what a kill!
Beautifully played there. Pix helping out the whole way through. The rapid fire, the stacked up damage from explosive charge. I mean, that feels like what happens when Tristana hasn't been in the meta for a while. I feel like in another world where people are playing Tristana every series, nobody's fallen for that level 3 nonsense. But here we are, it's 2026, Tristana's been gone for a bit, and Elk completely caught off guard.
Right, so maybe we'll have to, for Elk's sake, we're going to put it down to caught out by Tristana, my bad, guys, won't happen again. I will say, though, this is almost exactly how the game started for Weibo last game on the Ashe.
Flash in, Xiaohu, solo kill right back.
All right, look, the lanes are complete chaos. Another situation where Care probably should have understood he's in kill range. Can't play there, but very nice proactive play from Xiaohu. Kind of crazy that in the first 4 minutes, we've already seen 2 pseudo solo kills. The bot lane was a 2v2, although Awesome basically did all the work by himself. And then Xiaohu just completely solo kills Care back on the other side. So a lot of volatility early in this game, Gordo, and both teams capitalizing off of it.
Yeah, I mean, Xiaohu has been doing a real good job in this lane. If you didn't notice, before that solo kill had forced Care back very early in the laning phase as well, and now gets to go and make a purchase and will be significantly up in itemization over Care here now that he returns.
You know what's really toxic? That Nico can turn into Annie, who has 600 auto range. That's really toxic.
It is. It used to be longer. It was classic support Annie days. But yeah, certainly still one of the longer ones, especially for mages, and is definitely getting taken advantage of by Hong here. Both junglers on this bottom side. I think Guan going to be in the best position to be able to take this upcoming Scuttle Crab because he has got the stronger bot lane.
I mean, as far as mage auto ranges do go, Anivia's up there. Annie's up there. I think those are the longest two, right? 600, and Anivia's like 625 or something like 650 maybe? I think it's 625 on Anivia.
Something like that. I do not know offhand.
Too long, these mage players, man. They get infinite range. They get the best abilities, the best ults, the best scaling, and then they also get really high auto range on 2 champions, too.
Man's got a farm. As here comes the Scuttle fight. It does look like Weibo not willing to give this one up without a fight. They may have the weaker bot lane, but they have the stronger mid lane. Xiaohu arrives, threatening a big Tibbers drop, and they do successfully secure that level 6 Scuttler. Hoya and Zika now getting into it. There is going to be a little bit of a cage coming up through. Hoya manages to break out, throws Zika into the wall. Care shows up with the Destiny, but a little bit too late here. He's underneath the turret. Hoya taking a lot of damage. The Maiden bringing him lower and lower. Lands another E. Hoya forced to flash away, and in the 1 versus 2, Zika's claiming summoner spells.
Zika being able to flash out the CC chain wasn't there. If he had blind checked that, maybe, like just guessed with the E, that would have been crazy. But again, volatility in these lanes. It's only resulted in 2 kills so far, 1 apiece, but the game feels like it hangs by a thread, Gordo, and that's only like 7 minutes in.
Absolutely, and I mean, Weibo definitely want their solo lanes to be having this kind of success. Great job by Zika to not end up falling behind, to be able to be this strong side laner that you want your Yorick to be able to be. Great job by Xiaohu to pick up that individual advantage. That ends up making a difference for the first Scuttle fight. This is what you need, especially when Awesome is already starting to get ahead. Weibo going to need to be able to pick up the slack elsewhere.
And it's a bit tough to try to do that in, you know, the top side. Yorick is great as a side laner, but as a team fighter, he's not the best. Annie finds a stun.
JJ, yeah, Care now does have the flash, gonna have to use it. JJ flags and drags, but finds himself face to face with Guan, and with nobody getting knocked up, now Guan pumping out the damage. Tipper is going to come out to help out, and Xiaohu threatening even up against this maximum dosage Mundo. Hong coming in to assist his teammates, but I think this fight is done for. Meanwhile, Hoya shuffles back away Zika and comes out ahead in another trade.
Yep. Really well played by Guwon and Care there. Care sidestepping the flag and drag. Guwon hovering his mid laner. Nearly finds the kill into JJ, but too much damage from Xiaohu and JJ just this early. And the ult doesn't really have enough healing to push Guwon forward so that he can just fight the Jarvan until death. But both junglers will just go back to farming. JJ took a base. Care no flash. JJ no flash. Dragon's up. And both junglers having a sniff around the bot lane. One of them is a Nico, so don't be fooled. But there is a Jarvan around, positioning closer to the dragon now. Guwon's around too. No ult available for Guwon, no ult available for JJ. So this is a very bare bones fight. A lot more based on mechanics rather than, you know, I have flash, I have ult. And so far, it'll just be the crab. Not necessarily a dragon startup just yet.
Yeah. So, going to still be no dragon started off. Xiaohu, though, feeling confident, feeling strong, and he certainly should. He's been having a pretty solid laning phase up against Care here so far. Will probably be up about 300-ish gold by the time he gets this next recall off. And now, looking to be able to spend once again. Meanwhile, the Grubs are actually going to be the first objective start of this game. And I think Guan and Hoya should be able to secure this one for themselves, unless JJ shows up to try to snag one for himself. But that's not JJ, that's Hong.
Yeah, there's 2 Jarvans, watch out. I actually didn't know that if you're Nico and you clone yourself and you turn back to Nico to use an ability, like the Q, the JJ, like the Jarvan hold on.
Oh, JJ JJ getting collapsed on here. Care going to show up with the gold card to flash
Ooh!
forward, and Awesome will blow him up with the explosive charge. Costs him his flash, but he cashes out a second kill, and he's going to get the dragon for the team.
So, I was talking in game 1 about how I thought the grub sake from NIP wasn't great. This game, it's a different story. There's a Yorick, there's a Gnar, and a Mundo, and a TF on the field, and a Tristana, right? A lot of champions that love hitting towers. So the grubs is fine. Weibo get the dragon. No. NIP's bot lane instead push in. Really good damage from Awesome. He went Hex Optics first item on Tristana. So much damage done to JJ just there. And end up getting the dragon for himself. So the macro play so far from NIP is really good. Weibo need to be careful. I feel their lanes can't rotate as easily. I mean, you've got Yorick and Annie.
Yeah. And you know what? That's a little bit of caster malpractice by us there to not talk about the Hex Optics when the Tristana gets locked in. I mean, this item really getting hyped up is a top tier 80 carry item after the last round of buffs. And it fits with the Tristana beautifully as she scales into the game and gets those longer ranges.
Well, still on the roller coaster. We are still heading down. Weibo need to put their keys back in. Do roller coasters have keys? This one does. My roller coaster has keys. And start it back up. Turn the trajectory upwards. To do that, I think playing around this Annie stun with JJ is important, but I think without Yunara, like this 3v3 here, there's no damage from Weibo. Annie has a little bit of damage with Malignance, sure, Electrocute, but Nico, Annie, Jarvan, that's not a scary... You need some damage behind that, in my opinion. You need the Yunara. The Yorick is okay, but realistically, this comp is so focused around Elk doing damage and getting kills, and down 1,000 gold already, that's worrying me.
Hung going to be forced to flash here as he just steps up too far in a map where Awesome exists. He's looking for the knockup. Awesome finishes him off, jumps right back out with the reset. What was that?
That was some Tristana gaming, man. That was beautiful. Hung, I don't know if he realized that it was very obvious to tell which one was him and which one was the clone once the bomb detonated. And then the ult was very telegraphed. Buster shot was beautiful, and then he just hops over the wall.
I mean, that's... I feel like I could have explained that play to you by reading the Tristana kit. The Buster shot knocks back away the target in front of her, and getting the kill resets the jump.
Yeah.
That's just what the champion does, man. This is an original 40 champion.
He actually did get knocked up, but because he didn't get rooted by the second hit, he's able to get the reset in time to jump over the wall, and JJ tries his hardest. Yep, that's how I felt too.
My man is looking at the Tristana Wikipedia page, cheering right now.
It's like, wait, it resets. If we had coach voice, do you reckon, do you reckon the coaches from Weibo open up and just like, guys, read?
Yeah, I mean, that's... I've spoken to some coaches over here in NA a few times, and my understanding is that is a lot of what the coaches spend their time doing, yes, is encouraging their players to read patch notes, ability descriptions, whatever they can get their hands on. As Awesome is now very ahead. My man's got 3 kills on top of the Hex Optics, and he's about to get some turret plates to go with him because he's got Guan here to help zone off Hong and Elk, and this champion will rip through some turret plates.
Yeah, okay, so genuinely, Weibo are in an awful position. They're down a lot of gold, and most of it is on this Tristana. Hang on, Xiaohu's here. No way of getting in, though. Does have flash and ult, but the Tristana being up this much gold, the side lanes are really good and now winning, right? Zika is not able to find a lead as the Trinity Force has already been built by Huya. Care is just farming for free, and some of the gold is fake because of TF passive, sure, that is real. But for Weibo, you get outscaled. You're Jarvan, Annie, Nico. And, Yunara's mid-game is pretty good, but Tristana scales really well. Lulu scales really well. Mundo scales really well. I think Gnar is pretty good scaling. And for TF, one of those champions that kind of has this, infinite value, where no matter where you are in the game, your intrinsic view of scaling, in quotation marks, he has a stun card, and he's going to build rapid fire cannon, and he's going to press right click with stun card on somebody, and it will do the same thing no matter what.
JJ forced
He goes where he pleases, man.
And Awesome continues to push. Awesome is about to get another opportunity to fire off a fully charged explosive shot into this turret. And with the grubs at his back, he's going to get first turret gold here. This is just so much money being funneled into the Tristana. And if you're Weibo, you're looking at this happening and you're saying this is exactly what we didn't want to happen. This is exactly how this early game was not allowed to go for this Tristana, because she's going to dodge the mid-game trough where you're supposed to have your opportunity to take advantage.
Yeah, I think... Hang on. Stun card. That's the worry right there, the stun card. You have to get away from it because it's going to hit you. This is 2 dragons, so a pretty free give here for Weibo. They don't need to worry, but the dragon stacking pretty good so far from NIP. But Weibo need to find a way of breaking this game open because Awesome's 2 items in. He's a full item right now over Elk. So the team fight is unwinnable. Elk plays so... Awesome plays so aggressive like this. It's Cloud Soul 2. Like, if you thought you were getting run down before by Mundo TF Tristana, you're going to get run down a whole lot worse once that's been taken. But, yeah, I think Weibo really need to find a way to break open the game. That's a really hard ask because of where the game is at. How do you even start a fight? You need to essentially stun Tristana into insta-kill, but there's a Mikhail's there.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, there could have been a cleanse too, but clearly... winning out on this one, Awesome is correct that it was not necessary. He did not get in any situations where it was really called for. And yeah, I mean, now he's gotten here, right? The Mikhail's is here. It's going to have to be like knockups into play to be able to make this happen. Meanwhile, here's an engage coming through from Pear on towards Hong. They're going to try to finish this off before the pop blossom goes off. Will be able to be completed. Here's Tristana on the side, though. Awesome firing away, flashes over, takes down JJ. Now can hunt for Hong as well. Doesn't know where he is, not going to risk another blind hop. And so we'll have to settle for the 1 kill, but still a numbers advantage for NIP.
Hunting Xiaohu has TP, so we'll pretty easily be able to get out of here. Unfortunately, that'll be wasted, but it'd be really funny if Xiaohu just took the whole wave. Do it. Zika came all the way here, and he's like, no, bro, this is my wave. But, yeah, NIP is so scary. I mean, Awesome can literally do whatever he wants right now. He just jumps in. He gets a massive shield from Zhuo. He has Mikhail's ready, heal ready. Awesome sells barrier as well. The wild growth, if necessary at all. That fight was started pretty early by NIP. I was worried, like, well, where's the damage? You know, because without Awesome, they don't really have damage. So right at the start here, the stun card is great. But Hung doesn't take any damage, really. And then all of a sudden, Awesome comes over, and now the damage is here. And as soon as Awesome joins, not only is it a numbers advantage in favor of NIP, but there's nothing that you can do at this point in the game to fight against this Tristana. You're going to need a miracle. You are going to need a massive mistake from NIP or the most creative, explosive play I've ever seen from Weibo. Stun on to Awesome. Mikhail's has already been burnt by something else. Awesome gets 1 shot. Turn that into a triple kill. You know, get Baron. Otherwise, this game, Weibo is going to bleed out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just hope that Awesome continues to flash forward and maybe pick some worse opportunities to do so. Because so far, these flashes have been paying off a big time, and they're going to keep the pressure up on this top side of the map. I think Guan did not quite snag that bread buff, but was looking for it.
Well, Weibo have a little bit of breathing room here before this next Drake, but NIP, they could do Baron on spawn if they wanted to. Awesome is very, very scary right now.
Big stun comes through onto Hoya in the bottom lane. Xiaohu with damage to spare, going to force out the mini-Gnar. But there are 3 other members of NIP here to respond.
Oh!
Awesome jumping forward, gets the stun from Annie cleansed away. Still going to get hit by the pop blossom. It just doesn't care. Blasts away Xiaohu, and now has to retreat to Shay and Elk coming in on the flank. Zika going to be here as well. How can Awesome navigate his way out of this? Has to avoid the knockout.
Okay.
The Cataclysm. There's the shutdown gold going over to Elk. Now Elk looking to pop off in the rest of the fight. Transform of the mini-Gnar coming in before too long, but a second Yordle has fallen, and he's going to have to back away.
Well, that is a mistake from Awesome. A little bit too aggressive. The kill was very flashy, but a bit too much. I think you probably should have just gone for the tower. I love how NIP are playing, though, just kiting Awesome around, holding him on a string and saying, come here now, kill this turret, kill this person. Awesome kind of went off of the string here and said, no, I kill this guy. And he did, but he got caught by too much CC, took a little bit too much damage here, so by the time the wild growth wore off, Weibo rotated over, he was too low, didn't have jump available, no summoner spell, so he does just fall down pretty instantly. So an overstep, a mistake from NIP, but like I said, in the beginning of this game, in the draft, this Tristana is balancing on the edge. He has 1 foot permanently off and 1 foot on, and he's either going to balance perfectly or fall off, and he's going to do both of those, apparently.
He has hit 3 items now. Can work through frontline and backline alike. Level 11. Not too bad. Really wants to get a few more of those in the pocket to really get that range into a difficult-to-deal-with territory for folks like the Annie and like the Nico. You think it's tough to nail him down now. Wait until the auto-attack range is longer than the ability to cast these CC abilities. So far, going to need a little bit longer to get there, and that's the moment that Weibo needs to try to capitalize on, but much easier said than done. Here comes Hong, catches a mid-jump, awesome! Does get cleansed away by the Mikhails, and will get the chance to be able to jump away. Already taking down the support, and is able to stay alive. Now Guan in the front line alongside Hoya. Kair just looking for anybody to hit with the gold card, but you know what? Getting out of this fight 1-0, plenty good for NIP. They're going to take it.
That was ridiculous peel from NIP. The wild growth and the buster shot completely nullified the engage. I hope we get a look back at that, but NIP happy to take the fight instead of just trading soul point for Baron. They said, no, we don't want that. We want to take the fight. We don't want to let you get anything. Fight looks beautiful, and they get the soul point anyway.
Respect to Hong for that look. Catching awesome, mid-rocket jump. About as good as you can do. Rocket jump might as well be another cleanse because of how you can buffer CC with it.
Really well played.
Managing to nail a mid-jump is a huge advantage, but Xiaohu doesn't have flash, can't get here to chain the CC in time.
So it's wild growth and buster shot pushes Elk away, and then he's still able to jump over, I guess. Well, actually, no, it was with the kill on the Nico. There was enough, like, awesome tagged Hung there, so he's able to get the jump reset, but the wild growth from Zhuo was amazing. Then the buster shot as well to knock Elk away. So no damage rained in onto Awesome after that. That felt like a great chance